And finally, the long haul to South America and Argentina for the final round. The German Estering track is just a short trip from Hamburg and will provide some scintillating racing on this classic rallycross circuit. Coming up, we've got the highlights from heats 1 and 2. We catch up with the returning Mattias Ekstrom. The action continues in heat 3. It's elimination time in heat 4. We go live for the Supercar semis. Full race coverage from the Super 1600 final. And then it's the grand finale, the Supercar final, as it happens live. Here's the track preview presented by Ion Cameras. Away from the start, it's uphill and into a tightening turn 1. Carnage nearly always. All the way down the hill, flat in top gear. A tight hairpin at the bottom and then winding the way back up in between the arm coat, mixed surfaces. Finally, the joker lap at the last corner and a race to see who crosses the line first. The very first race of Heat 1 saw typical Estering first corner action. DTM star Mattias Ekstrom lost out and ended up third off the start, but fought back brilliantly to take the lead and win the race. Celebrations were on hold though, as Petter Solberg went a massive 4.6 seconds faster in the very next race. The World Championship leader serving early notice of his intentions. Race 3 saw the infamous Turn 1 claim its first high-profile victims, Markland and Bakkerud.
Yeah, I thought I had a gap to go in, got the first hit, went out again. The car felt good around the first turn, went on the straight and suddenly the car started dancing. I had a heart in my throat, you know, I was so scared down the hill, but I had big respect for all my competitors that started braking and see that something was going on.
Henning Solberg was on an absolute flyer. Very impressive lap times meant he threatened his younger brother's lead, but a slower joker lap dropped him to second place. Just when it looked like a family 1-2, European Supercar Championship leader Robin Larsson stepped up to the plate and took the overall heat win by the tiniest of margins, just 0.04 of a second. After his disastrous Heat 1 race, Andreas Bakkerud returned to form with a great pass on Lindenfeld. He won the race, but with an average time, and will have to work very hard to make it to the semis. Turn 1 continued to prove tricky. Genet and Janssen went synchronised spinning after contact in their race, while Topi Heikkinen made it to Turn 2 before his problem struck. Heikkinen had been fighting with Rustad since the start, outbraked himself at the bottom of the hill and let Rustad through for the win. The current European champion and the world champion elected battled throughout their race, but Timothy Janov never left the door open and Petter Solberg wasn't taking any unnecessary risks. Top of the table in Heat 2 though was Mattias Ekstrom. Despite a costly mistake going into the joker on his final lap, he provided Audi with the heat win at home in Germany. Here's the standings after Heat 2. Petter Solberg tops the table, Timothy Janov second, Mattias Ekstrom in third. Then it's Tommy Rustad, Henning Solberg, Topi Heikkinen, Frode Holter and Timmy Hansen rounding out the top 8. Robin Larsson, Reinis Nittisch, Peter Hedström and Pontus Tiedemund are currently the top 12.
Petter, a brilliant day. He's consolidating your place in the championship, driving and keeping it clean. It was good, right?
Keeping it clean. I got a big smash in the back right-hand corner in the first corner, you know, so I thought I would get the puncture. Well, it worked okay, and I was behind Timur because I missed the start a little bit, and I missed the gear. So, but still, if I stay behind him and not too close and not pushing him, he will drive clean and get a good time. So I'm very pleased, honestly. You know, it was very, yeah, it couldn't be better for today.
But it's unusual this season to see you following another driver. Is that simply how it happened, or is it part of the strategy to just play it a bit safer?
You know, you shouldn't be too greedy sometimes, and I think to win the championship we have to stay calm and look at where Nittisch and Heikkinen is, and sometimes you don't have to be much better than everybody, just a little bit.
Henning, an impressive day today in the car. It was spectacular to watch. How was it to drive?
Yeah, the first session was quite good. We were 3 overall. Second session was not so good because in the first lap it was a stone in the track, so I bent the arm which is going back, so it was bent like a banana. So I was struggling a little bit with the driving around her, but it was still good. We are number 5 overall, so that's good.
Number 5 overall is very good going into the next heats. The pace is good. You clearly like this circuit, apart from the big stones.
Yeah, I like all the circuit. That is not the problem. The problem is that the car have to be in one piece. Sometimes in rallycross you can hit somebody, and you know it's very high tuned with almost 600 horsepower, so everything can happen.
Very impressive in the car today, Mattias. Can you tell us how this circuit was to drive and how pleased you were with today's performance?
Yeah, I could feel in the warm-up already we had a pretty clean run, and then I could see the lap times were good. So the testing we did more or less confirmed the feeling I had in the car. In total P3 after day 1, and this track is very special. Turn 1, just to have 2 heats surviving with no big hiccups is already a good day. And I mean, with 41 cars on the grid, it's impressive how the competition are as well. And I mean, it doesn't matter where you're racing, you're always racing someone very hard, and I'm pleased with my day, I have to admit. And I mean, as the team boss as well, Pontus had a good day as well. Still 2 jokers after the jump start was a little bit expensive, but except for this little hiccup, I'm very pleased.
As Heat 3 got underway on Sunday morning, it was rain for the early heat races and the carnage continued at Turn 1. Ramona Carlson in the middle of it all in the Albertech 208. The very next race, contact again between 3 of the front runners. Genet caught in the middle of that. This was Walfredson in the back of Tohill. Tohill doing very well to hold on to it. Andy Scott, the Albertech team boss, also had a torrid time at Turn 1 into the barriers. That broke his steering. 5 into 1 just won't go. Sharon Grosset-Janin got turned around at Turn 1. Nitish and Bakarud, the 2 Ford MSE drivers, managed to come out of contact at the first corner in first and second place, but there was a problem for Nitish, the second place man in the World Championship, in danger, and that left his teammate Bakarud to take the win. Crowd here enjoying the sunshine. They wouldn't have been enjoying the rain this morning. Topi Heikkinen wheel spins the polo up
You could hear how low that was, so that was quite a low RPM start.
Here's the lineup for race 8 of Heat 3. Pontus Tideman, Frode Holter, Timmy Hansen, PG Anderson and Topi Heikkinen. Middle of the grid is Timmy Hansen. Nervous times for all the drivers. They know what electric turn 1 is. Pretty even start. Hansen has got a good start in the middle, but it's PG Anderson alongside him. Contact across all 4 ways. Hansen's been wise in the previous heats. He's gone out wide. Oh, all the way out into the gravel trap. Right the way out. That's Frode Holter has run wide, and Timmy Hansen has come out of this absolutely shiny.
Oh, contact with Anderson and Tiedemann down there. Very close, but played completely into Hansen's hands there, didn't it? It all opened it up. Holtino, which
oh, he's wide. Hansen's wide. Tiedemann alongside in contact between Hansen and Tiedemann. Tiedemann's on the outside. Up the inside of him now, PG Anderson has have to lift out of the throttle. Tiedemann having another look up the inside of Hansen. So Hansen with a little mistake. Who's going to go to the joke lap? No, maybe the last car.
Holter, and then Heikkinen looked like he was about to go and then decided not to. So very, very close racing. Obviously for them, they don't want that. They want to get a quick heat time, and Hansen now is spotted on the radio, I'm sure, just eyes forward. Because yes, we want to see some exciting racing, but for these guys, they want to try and just get away, get into their own rhythm and worry about the heat time, not necessarily the position as much.
Hansen had Timosyanov big time in France. Yeah, Hansen won 3 out of the 4 heats. Here it seems Timosyanov has just got the edge over Timmy.
You know, there's so many different variants and car setups. Some drivers prefer different sorts of circuits, and it's how they get the car absolutely dialed in as perfect as they can to their driving style into the circuit. So, you know, on one circuit, Tiedemann then flies into the Joker with
PG's right behind him. PG's right behind him. You can see them on the right of your screen. 2 rally drivers going through the most rally driving section probably the whole season. It's a very, very narrow right, left, right on gravel. Oh, Heikkinen up the inside of PG Anderson. PG Anderson now trying to slot back up the inside of him. A little bit of contact on the exit. Tiedemann's pulled over. He's got a problem for EKS RX. The Audi is slow down the hill. Both of the other drivers slot past. So that's Heikkinen and Anderson have gone straight through. And in the background, Holter's going slowly as well from the looks of things.
You can see on the back, look at the left rear there. Tiedemann's bumpers all the way up on his wheel, but I don't think he wouldn't slow down for that, because unless it punched the tyre, he'd absolutely keep going. So Hanson's played into his hands. Clear road in front, clear road behind.
Hansen sounds that doesn't sound quite right, does it?
Goes past.
Hansen didn't sound quite right as he made the right hand. Listening again, Hansen's car, it sounds like a flat 4. It sounds like a Subaru.
Yeah, he's still doing pretty good times. That definitely doesn't sound right.
So Hansen then with a problem, Tiedemann as well, and Holter. This is a real race of attrition.
As I just
Hansen's
heard it
at the
go
bottom of the
behind
hill.
us in the commentary box there, it definitely sounds very sick.
Down the back straight, wasn't
you can
sounding
hear
good.
it, hear how harsh it sounds.
He's
That's
still
not
got
running
grunt
properly.
though, Andrew. He's got loads of grunt up the hill here.
Did that just smoke a little bit? I think there was a bit of smoke came out the exhaust on that acceleration.
Into the Joker lap on the final lap. There is, or is that dust or was it smoke? We don't know. Either way, Hansen, I think, is going to manage to hold on to this one. Timmy Hansen up and over the finish line. It doesn't sound right, but it's still going well. Second place just goes to Toppy. Third to PG Anderson. And we know that Tiedemann and Frode Holter have got problems out on the circuit. Okay, so bit of work. There's Kenneth Hansen. Kenneth Hansen immediately has a chat with one of the engineers. Headsets are off. Doesn't look too concerned. Here's a replay from the start, Andrew.
So watch Hansen there, it all opens up, Holter at the inside, couldn't get it stopped out into all the sand. Hansen, it opened up for him nicely, gets his head down, gets gone. Here's the mistake, Hansen just runs a little bit wide.
Could that be the contact that caused the problem for Tiedemann, maybe?
Maybe, but I don't know why that would cause him to slow, because his tyre still looked like it was up, and to be honest, even if he had a puncture, he'd still keep going. So, good win for Hansen, but they'll be worried about that problem, I'm sure.
Close between Heikkinen and Anderson over the line. And Neil Cole is up in the Iron Spotters Tower now. Let's have a chat with him.
A good win for Timmy, but is everything all right with the car?
No, actually not really. So we are really happy to have this performance. We are a little lack of power. We are trying to find and solve the problem, but to finish with this time is really good with that engine.
So if you get that engine problem solved, we could be looking at his elusive first win of the season.
We could be, but you know, we have been looking a long time now, so let's try again.
You've got to love Kenneth Hansen, an absolute rallycross legend. Here is the result of that one. Timmy Hansen from Toppy Heikkinen, PG Anderson, Tiedemann and Holter. Let's hope that they can get Hansen's car fixed. Even with a potential problem, slots in second place, so that's a great result. Toppy and PG 6th and 7th on the heat. Petter Solberg in the middle of this one. Here's the full lineup. Mattias Ekstrom, Timo Timosjanov, Petter Solberg, Anton Markland and Tommy Rustad. Andrew, Jordan Rustad's going well here, isn't he?
He's going really well. I was going to say, turn one seems to, everyone's been a bit more aggressive today. Yesterday, everyone kind of got through there and there wasn't too much contact, but we've seen typical turn one action. Solberg, see, clunks into gear. The guy's giving him the thumbs up, so onto the anti-lag, banging off the limits of flatten and throttle.
Solberg needs a good start. He doesn't want any problems in turn one. He's got the most to lose as the World Championship leader, and he's right in the middle of a sandwich contact for Solberg. Almost what happened last year. Timosjanov backs out of it. Markland is backwards down to turn one. He's been spun round around the outside for Rustad. Timosjanov gets away with it. Solberg comes out of that looking rosy. Down the hill leading Ekstrom. Oh, sideways for Ekstrom. Ekstrom goes around the outside of Solberg.
Sure, he suddenly slowed there. Is there a bit of smoke as he broke his suspension? Huge amount of contact the whole way in there. On board with Solberg. Still sounds to...
Oh,
that's a
Rustad
big
off!
shunt.
Rustad off at the bottom of the hill. He was so sideways, but he's keeping going. In proper rallycross tradition, he keeps going. Ekstrom with Timosjanov. So where's Solberg gone? The World Championship leader has got a problem. The World Championship leader is slow down the hill into the right-hander. Petter Solberg has a problem here in Heat 3 in Germany.
Big broken right front suspension from the contact at turn one.
Front right wheels
as I was
hanging
saying,
off.
everyone now turn one he's living up to his reputation. Huge contact on the way in. Markland was going backwards. It looked like it all opened up for Solberg.
Yeah, he was
obviously
in
the
the lead,
contact was
wasn't he?
breaking his suspension. He obviously realised he was going down here flat out, and that's when Ekstrom passed him. So huge contact, but it's opened up for Ekstrom. He's in clear track with all the action happening behind him.
Even with the earlier heat races, Andrew, being held in much wetter conditions than this, Petter Solberg is going to lose out massively. He was desperate, isn't he, to get round.
This is what he was worried about, his turn one. You know, it's been his big worry all weekend. He's going for a championship. He needs to consistently score points, and he said he's always been a bit cautious going into there, try and get out of the contact. There was nothing he could do there. It all just funnels down into on board with Ekstrom. So grabbing to get a little bit of clutch to kill the wheel spin as he shifts gear, flat out and sit, very relaxed, letting the car move around. You can see it.
See his head nodding there as well, almost like Francois Delacour. He's pulling
urging
his
himself
head.
on.
Yeah,
so
down the hill.
if we can see the right front wheel, it's pointing in the wrong direction. So that's definitely down to the
Solberg
contact.
reaches down to the dash, maybe flicks off the anti-lag.
He's
Not
probably
quite
turning that
sure.
off. You want to try and save the engine and stuff like that. So
He's really struggling. He's
look at
really
his right
struggling.
front wheel pointing in there. So that's a few cars now we've seen with damaged suspension from the contact at turn one. This is going to put Ekstrom in a very, very strong position.
Solberg has made it round as the guys come onto the last lap, so Petter Solberg won't be lapped, I don't think. Or will he? Could they get past him, and then that means he wouldn't be a DNF.
It could well be.
So Ekstrom then is chasing Solberg down the hill. Solberg here could end up with a DNF if Ekstrom gets past him. He's got to get round to the end of the lap before that point. Solberg, out of our commentary position, we can see comes down the hill. He's got the right and the left to go. Ekstrom is closing down fast in the background. On board with Mattias Ekstrom now with the Audi. Solberg is crawling up over the start-finish line. He comes over the start-finish line in front of us. Ekstrom pitches it into the Joker lap, round the right, round the left, on the gas in the Audi. He's going to pop up over the line in the lead. Behind him, Timoš Janov takes second, but the story here is the World Championship leader, Petter Solberg, has a big problem. Anton Markland over the line as well. You can't predict it, Andrew. Rallycross is bonkers anyway, but turn one here, Petter was in the middle. What could he have done differently?
There's nothing you can do. It's one of those, it all funnels down 5 wide into a very tight corner onto gravel, and everyone's trying to get onto the inside, obviously, but there's nothing he could do. He was in the middle, and contact's taking him out.
He's coming round towards the finish now. Here is Petter Solberg. Look how far behind he is. He's going to get to the finish, so it won't be a DNF. Just manages it. Look at the look on his face. Let's wait and see his reaction over the line. Love to see what Petter's thinking right now. Don't think he's going to be very happy. But either way, you could see it was written all over his face, Andrew. Just disappointment. Here is the result. Mattias Ekstrom, Timoš Janov, Anton Markland, Tommy Rustad and Petter Solberg. A long way back. Mattias Ekstrom slots into second place. That was a great time by Andreas Backerud. He's the man who wins Heat 3. Timoš Janov slots into 5th. We're going to have a chat with Petter Solberg's team, who are with Neil Cole right now up in the Iron Spotters Tower.
So Petter managed to get the car over the line, but what was the problem?
It was front suspension. It was a big battle in the first corner, so that's how it is. But we need to keep going and try to score some points, you know. So we'll see. It's one heat left, so just have to keep pushing.
And what was Petter like in the cockpit when you were just talking to him then?
Sorry, no, I was just talking about traffic behind and stuff like that, just to keep out of the way, so we do a fair race for everybody else. So just to keep him going and where people are on the track, basically. Yeah.
Okay, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's the replays, Andrew. Look at turn
Solberg's
one.
in the middle, so Markland comes over, turns him completely round. He's going backwards. I think it's that. So Solberg tried to go around the back of Markland. You can see his right front road at the back of it. He's on board with Ekstrom. You can see Markland, look, he's looking in the side of him. Petter around the outside, looks like it's going to be okay, and he just clips him. So this was Petter on board, so he's going to go around the back of Markland there. Bang. You can see, rides at the back of him, quite a big hit on his right front. This is Rustad, just runs it in a bit wide, the sand drags him into the bank.
I wonder if he couldn't see with the sand in the air. He's just kept it lit, hasn't he? He's hit the bank, but
Ekstrom on the Joker lap. In practice, he did every lap through the Joker lap, trying to get every last little bit he can through there, and good time, but very, very busy heat race and very busy turn 1.
As normal at the Estering. Here are the standings after Heat 3. Petter Solberg was on top. He drops to 8th, so he will still make it through to the semis, but at the minute it's Mattias Ekstrom, who is in TQ, top qualifier for Audi at home in Germany. Timoš Janov, Solberg, Hansen, Larsen, Heikkinen, Hedström and Petter Solberg. Into the semis at the moment, Anderson, Rustad, Bermingrud and Ronnie Searock. Great job by him. Just outside, Pontus Tiedemann, Andreas Backerud, Anton Markland. So carnage amongst the regulars. Reinis Nitish is down in 17th. He's second in the World Championship. He's got a lot of work to do to make it up into the finals. The first driver to achieve a perfect score in World RX was EKS RX owner and driver Mattias Ekstrom, who returns to the championship after his fantastic native win in Sweden.
At the time, there was so much emotions that I was becoming like a little kid, starting crying and, you know, losing the control of my emotions, because the amount of effort we spend in preparing the team and also preparing the cars and setting everything up for the Swedish event and also for the season was very, very high, and in a very short time frame we managed to put something up. And once this all came through me, I saw all the pictures crossing the finish line, and it just was one, I'd say, the best moment of my motorsport career. Sport have made huge progress in how to make the racing exciting. The teams which are driving, they're getting more experience, they're collecting data. As you can see at the top, it's getting closer, and now it's even a struggle to get it into the semifinals. We are always in it to win it, and I will never change my approach in my life, because the day when I come just to take part, someone else has to take care of the steering wheel. So I really enjoy the environment, being in a tent, you know, having a little bit dirt under your fingernails and a bit more relaxed. Because daily, I think what makes you happy is when you're just allowed to be a part of something you love.
Rennes, talk us through what happened in Heat 3.
It was a really good start, and I managed to come second after first corner, just behind Bakkerud. Then the pace was okay, and I catching him, my teammate, a little bit. But then something broke in the engine or in the turbo. I don't know yet. Mechanics now to fix the problem, and I will be back. I'm sure that I'm 17 now after Heat 3, and we'll see. How I can say, bad luck maybe yesterday and today as well, but we have to be strong in this moment, and nothing is loose yet.
Yeah, it's not all over yet, but you really need a very, very good luck in the last heat. But also, what a shame that a really good chance for big championship points with a problem for Petter.
Yeah, Petter also had the problems, but we are at the same heat in Heat 4. We'll see. It will be hard, but we for both we have to manage the clean run and clean heat, really good lap times, and then the time for the heat. We'll see. We are both fighting for the championship, and we have to be strong now.
Thank you. Good luck. So Mattias, talk us through Heat 3. Very, very good result for you.
Yeah, I mean, first corner was very action-packed, but after this it was just the first lap. Petter had a problem, and after this I had a clean run, but I was a bit scared something broke there, so I was a bit too cautious the first two laps, but afterwards all fine again.
And nice and clean through the Joker lap this time.
Yeah, I took it a bit more steady, maybe too slow, but at least safe.
So what's the plan for Heat 4?
I think Bakkerud is on the inside, so I will learn a lesson from the other guys, maybe try to do a decent start, and if I'm ahead, I'm ahead. If not, I will back off and go behind him and just play it smart.
Petter, you look very disappointed. Talk us through what happened.
Well, you go side by side, everybody in the into the corner, and it is hard. And then I got Marklund in, like spinning in front, and then I turn over to the left to not hit him, and then I touched him just on the corner, and then I broke the steering. And then we were leading, but it was already done, so that's it, and we down to 8th place now total. So I hate this first corner. I just need I need a proper clean run, and that's the main thing,
Are they going to get this front right fixed in time?
Yeah, but we also have to go up to refuel. It's on the other side of the service park, so we're going out in 15 minutes, I think so.
Thank you.
lange noch weitergehen sollte, weitergehen müssen, ganz einfach deswegen, weil es die beste Schule ist und so. Das ist so eine richtig schöne Grundschule für die Supercar.
The sun was shining as Heat 4 got underway. First up were those who'd had problems in Heat 3, including, of course, Andy Scott, who was leading Per Eklund when Per hit the wall. Andy took a good win, but won't make the semis. Petter Solberg had a disaster in Heat 3 with that broken front suspension. In this race, he didn't get away first, but Rustad ran wide, and that put Solberg into a lead that he wouldn't lose. And he set a fantastic time in great conditions. Jochen Koets lost control in the very next heat race and was collected, unfortunately, by Jos Janssen. It was a big hit, but both drivers were okay. The race had to be red flagged. On the rerun, Pontus Tiedemann took the win from Jerome Grosjean. Heat 4, race 5. Emil Oman, Rennie Munich, Stein-Egil Jensen, Johan Kristoffersen and Ramona Karlsson. Let's see if everybody behaves themselves in this one. Turbos are spooling up very, very close in the middle of the grid. Jensen just crept forward, but he got away with it. Great start by Kristoffersen. Oh, contact between Oman. Oman there just in the side. But it's Kristoffersen into turn 1. First of all, Oman's trying to have a look up the inside. So much dirt in the air. I think we'll have to wait until we can see them coming down the hill. There they go. Past the Armco at great speed, 6th gear down here, and Kristoffersen is out in front.
Great start by Kristoffersen. We've seen how quick he is. He was a bit unlucky in some of the earlier heats, but we've seen that if you get a great start from the outside, it then gives you the opportunity to sweep across and have no contact and straight into the lead. Jensen was very lucky because he was, I think, second off the start. He then swept across with a bit of contact, and as we've seen so many times so far this weekend, that can really result in lots of carnage.
Ramona Carlson at the back of your shot here, flying in the Peugeot 208. Really chucking around. Oman having a look up the inside of Jensen. He leaves the brake in late, tiny bit of contact. Jensen runs wide, but he's still in front as they exit that one. Down the hill from gravel to tar and then back to gravel again. Oh, dust flying up in the background. Andrew, how much of a clean line is there here? We walked the track with Timmy Hansen earlier in the weekend, and you and him were discussing the angle of the corner now and so on.
Yeah, the whole way around, there's a lot of dirt being dragged onto the circuit in different parts. Your tyres are dragging onto the dirt, onto the tarmac section, so it does, on the tarmac section on the track, become a very kind of one-line circuit. But Kristoffersen's going to need a very quick heat time. He's 13th, so just on the cusp of missing out in the semi-final. But as we saw in the last heat with Tiedemann, he's in clear track, so he can get his head down real close.
Really
with
close,
Ramona
yeah.
and Jensen.
Carlson and Jensen. Jensen coming out, I think, from the Joker lap, and Carlson just in front. She is in a battle. Oh, slides on the gravel, contact with Jensen. Jensen just hangs on to that, but on the outside, Munich's having a look around the outside of Carlson. Now up the inside on the brakes, contact between those two. Carlson's going to be in the gravel. She's going to need to gas it up, four-wheel drive. Can she get it back on the track? She's buried it. Buried in the gravel. That's a shame. That's not the way that Ramona Carlson wanted to end her weekend. She's done well. She said the car handled more like a rally car than the Saab that she was driving earlier in the season, but we won't be seeing her in the semi-finals. This man Kristoffersen, though, maybe we will see him 13th at the minute, and he's on a flyer, Andrew.
Yeah, it's a perfect heat for something like this because you can get into clear air, not worry, you're not getting hassled from behind. You're not having to worry who's close, who's going to joke and come out near you. He's by far the quickest in this heat. You can see he's absolutely on it. Big slide there. He's going to take his joker on this lap. He carries good speed in. Look, gets the car turned, and it's really tight. The TV shot doesn't do it justice how much it then tightens through here on the right. Look, close to the tyres all the way out to the bank. Great job.
A win for Kristoffersen. It's going to be a race between Oman and Jensen. Jensen's going to get it. Just Jensen ahead of Oman. And then Rennie Munich comes through in fourth. Of course, Ramona Carlson is down in the gravel trap at the bottom of the hill. Andrew Jordan, you gave me a hand signal there, which I think means Kristoffersen's quickest.
Yeah, just gone quickest. 32 minutes, 36.2.
Here's the result and confirmation of that very fast time by Johan Kristoffersen, 2:36.2. Jensen in second, Oman is third, Munich fourth, and Ramona Carlson with the DNF. And there he does slot into fastest. Not quite as quick as Robin Larson went yesterday, but the track is certainly in a similar condition as it was in Heat 1. Good news for the drivers still to come. Kristoffersen heads back into the back of the paddock. Andrew Jordan away from the start.
Kristoffersen is on the outside. Great start. That was running the start. There was Jensen there in the background. Bit of contact. And look how slippy this looks. To get it turned, they're struggling to get it in on the power. Big slides out. But that all played into Kristoffersen's hands.
This was Oman and Jensen. The right and the left, which lead back onto the start-finish straight. That was Munich when he had a look at Carlson, and she was late on the brakes anyway.
There'd been a little bit of argy-bargy the whole way down the hill with Ramona and a couple of the other guys, so it kind of looked like it was always going to end that way. But Kristoffersen, look, threads it through the Joker lap really, really quick.
Using the grass bank like a snow bank, leaning the rear end of the car on it. We've seen Petter do that, and Robin Larson, Timmers Yarnov this weekend. The quick boys have been doing a brilliant job of it. Heat 4, race 6, Simone Romagna, Davy Genet, Lucas Walfridson, Derek Tuhill and Mats Oman. Look at Davy Genet there, who's been fast in the Monster Energy car this weekend but hasn't had the luck. Andrew Jordan just pointing out of the window in the commentary box here, there is a big grey cloud which is approaching. Is it going to drop its water? An inopportune moment for the very fast guys. A great crowd here. Been treated to some fantastic action. That bank where they stand is directly opposite where we are, and it gives a wonderful view of turn 1, and that's where they're about to barrel into now. Driver's eye view away from the line. Great start by David Genet. Tohill on the outside, Romagna on the inside. Contact between all three. They run wide. Walfridson can pick up the pieces here. Sideway from him. Tohill's gone up the inside of all of them. Who's going to come out in front of that when the dust settles? 4 or 5 cars.
Yeah, Tohill.
Great job.
So he backed it up nice and early into the first corner. All the guys went absolutely at it, into each other, all wide. Tohill can pick up the pieces. So it's, you've got a couple of options, haven't you, for the first corner. You either go absolutely gung-ho and see the outcome, or you do just be a little bit conservative from the way in, because you know it's going to kick off. It is in every race, there's always a bit of contact. You see what pieces you can pick up. Janae looked like he's sweeping around the outside of Walfredson there, but that's going to hold him up.
Walfredson took a strange line there. I wasn't sure whether he actually wanted to go into there or not, but Janae's right behind him as they come out the Joker.
This is a joke lap that you can commit to really early if you can carry the speed in. But then obviously if you've committed so early, you can't then abort it if someone in front of you takes the Joker at the same time.
Oh, no, that's a heart-sinking moment, isn't it? If you want a bit of space and there isn't any in front of you, then what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. You've committed, you've got to go to it. And I can see out the commentary box the umbrellas are going up, so I don't know if the rain is actually here or if it's coming very soon, but the guys in the collecting area now will be hoping it doesn't come.
It's only psychological rain at the minute, isn't it, Andrew? Until you see it on the windscreen, it's not really there,
It's always easy for the guys on the radio to say that, they're not the ones driving it. So. But this will be really good for Derek, if it all opened up nicely for him in the first corner. If he can get a good quick heat time, he's been really unlucky this season, hasn't really been able to show the results he should have got. But Magna, big contact,
and it broke tyre off, definitely.
It's broke his left rear suspension or a tyre off.
So Romagna's going to go slowly. Walfredson goes straight past him. Matt Soman on the outside isn't going that quickly either. We've got rain against the windows.
So many broken
Look
cars
at how much the lights changed as well. You can see darkness falls over the Ester ring. Certainly darkness falls on Romagna's weekend. On the gas early, and he couldn't hold it, and he taps the barrier on the inside as well. He picked that up way too early with no tyre on that rear rim. He's now stranded in the middle of the track down at the bottom hairpin. It'll be a while before Tohill gets round there. Tohill now approaching the top hairpin. He's just got the long straight to go.
We were saying, weren't we, about the guys just on the cusp of the semi-final. Christopherson's 13th. Nitish, so they're going to be hoping it rains because that's going to give them even more of a chance of getting through to the semi-final.
Of course it is, because the quick guys will end up with slow times. Romagna drags the car out of the way, so Derek Tohill is clear to go through. I'm not sure how much rain we're going to get. The cloud's moving over us pretty quickly. It's fairly isolated. Tohill up and over the crest in the right-hander in the DS3. Run by LD Motorsports, of course, into the Joker on his final lap. Walfredson is taking the standard lap. It's going to be a race between those two. Tohill a little bit wide in the Joker. He needs to get the power down. Tohill in the grass bank on the outside, just holds on from Walfredson. And Janae, brilliant stuff. Matt Soman coming through in 4th place. But great job by Tohill. Really, all the hard work was done in turn 1. It was a clever bit of driving.
Yeah, I think that the races are won at turn 1, especially around here. There's not a huge amount of overtaking places.
There you are. Derek Tohill takes it from Lucas Walfredson, David Genet, Matt Soman and Simone Romagna with a DNF. So Tohill slots in 7th place, about 8 seconds off the pace of Kristoffersson, and with the rain falling, will anybody be able to match that pace? Darkness, as you can see over the circuit, wipers are on. If you can see any shots of the grandstands in the background, there you go. Umbrellas are going up quickly. Here's a replay of the last dry race I think we're going to see for a few minutes.
Look at Tohill on the outside. He sees it all kicking off. He gets a bit of a hit. Did he mean to do it? Probably saw it all kicking off. Look, they're all wide. He's up the inside, gets the power on, and while they're all scrabbling for grip, this is Romagna now at the inside. You can see big hit, and when it's a hit like that, he rides up it, the wheels lock together, rips the tyre straight off the rim. And he's still pressing on here at the bottom.
Opens it up early, doesn't he, here? Oh, he could have gone straight into a donut if he'd had a bit more space.
Not much left rear grip without a tyre, is there?
No, not really. Asking too much of a rim. It just won't dig in like a tyre will. Derek Tohill, though, great run by him. Watch this, out of the Joker lap exit, on the gas into the bank, and just beats Walfredson, who's flat out up the hill. Look at the weather, it's closing in. Neil Cole is up on the Iron Spotters Tower. Let's see who he's with.
It's great to see a good race there by Derek. Talk us through that heat.
Well, he had a fantastic start. Well, not just got off the line, but once he got to the corner, he got in the inside line and he got the head down, and he had a great run. So we're very happy with that one. Delighted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Umbrellas are up for the Monster Energy girls and for the rest of the people in the crowd watching this. It's getting damp, could be exciting. Morten Bermengrud, Tord Linnerud, Anton Marklund, Koen Pauws and Ronnie Searock about to go out and discover how slippery it is. Now the rain is falling hard. We have heavy rain here as we're about to get this race underway. It is pouring down and the tarmac is going a much darker shade as we speak. Wipers are on fast on the cars. Look at the rain on Pauw's roof. Brake lights on. Moody stuff here from Germany. You can see the darkness. Look at the crowd in the background ready to race. Are they going to wish down the wet weather tyres on? Oh, away from the line. Brilliant start by Marklund. Absolutely on fire. Bermengrud's gone with him, but Bermengrud and Pauw's behind. Need to get on the brakes early, guys. It's slippery. Ronnie Searock, don't collect your teammate. Bermengrud in the back of Marklund. Don't push him round. Bermengrud sideways. holds on to it. Markland leads from Birmingham. Powell's up the inside of Powell's. It's Ronnie Searock. Ronnie Searock, contact between him and Powell. Searock gets in on the brakes. Powell slots in. Great start by Markland.
Start from Markland, wasn't it? I was sat here wondering if they've just adjusted the revs at the very last minute when the rain suddenly came down. But Markland's the one that's discovering this wet track for the first time. You know, Birmingham right behind. He can judge his braking distances, his braking point off Markland, but Markland's having to lead the pack, doing a great job. He just doesn't know how slippery each corner is going to be.
He hasn't run wide so far, but epic start. You know, it suddenly chucked it down really hard, Andrew. What just a click of the revs? 1, 2. What do you do?
It might be. You know, the rain really came heavily as they were ready to go, and the ready to race board went up. So I don't know if they would have adjusted it. It's Ronnie Searock slowing in the background there. But now the rain looks to have stopped a little bit, so this is going to fluctuate the times. It's going to have played into Petter Solberg's hand because he was
Massively.
in an early heat. So even though he had a bad heat in the previous, in heat 3, as it played into his hands a little bit, he was in an early heat, in a dry heat. And so a quick heat.
Nitish too. So Nitish, who sits in 17th, has had a result here because he's gone out in the dry and set a fast time. Oh, Linerud into the wall. Backerud, his teammate, was fastest in heat 3. That put him almost back up into the semis. Now he's had a shocker because he's got to go out in the wet. I mean, it's
that bad luck, isn't it? We've spoken about. You know, Andreas has been so quick this year, just hasn't had the luck with him. And you know, if this stops him from getting into the semi-finals, he can only put it down to bad luck and wrong place, wrong time.
He'll be desperately disappointed though. Anton Markland down the hill, got to judge that braking zone just right. It's hard to tell from up here in the top of the Iron Spotters Tower just what the weather's doing. We heard it hitting the roof, through the cans, through the engine revs. Searock runs wide, and it was really raining hard. It seems to ease off again now, but you can see from the colour of the track, Andrew, that the grip levels have just changed.
Markland's best lap's a couple of seconds off of what we've seen so far in this heat. So although you can't necessarily see how much time it's costing.
Searock tagged, Ronnie Searock tagged Powell's on the brakes. Powell's just held on to it. Searock's gone through into the Joker Lap, the world record holder for handbrake market. He's actually doing a pretty good job of driving a supercar in tricky conditions here. He did say he didn't think the handbrake was going to be quite so useful as it was. He wasn't quite as used to how it was working, was he, as he is normally. Markland down at the front is the only person who hasn't jokered yet.
Markland's best lap's 2.5 seconds off Kristoffersson's best lap, so it's going to be, you know, that's every lap. So the race time's going to be hugely slower. It's going to have such an effect on the guys and yet to come, who are the quicker guys and the ones right up there in the overall standings at the minute.
Blip of the throttle from Markland as he sends it big time into the Joker Lap. Fantastic exit from really good drive. Markland takes it, the checker flag's out. Second goes to Birmingham. His third to Powell's, fourth to Ronnie Searock. Then Linerud comes over the line. There goes Markland. You can see the brake lights, so the tail light just is so much brighter in the wet. Anton Markland with 2 minutes 50. Morten Birmingham, Kuhn Powell's, Ronnie Searock. There you go. They don't even slot into the first page. Bang, off the bottom of the graphic. Every single. It's the first time we've seen that this year. They slot in to show you where they are, and they're nowhere. Shocker for Markland because it was a brilliant drive in the conditions. Absolutely brilliant. He barely put a foot wrong. Here he was at the start.
He was gone. Initial launch, he just sat down, squatted and gripped up, and in those conditions, really impressive. You can see it, look how slick it looks. So the dirt's getting dragged onto the tarmac. Birmingham just in the back of him, but fair enough, he gave him room, let him collect it back up. Linerud, I think, was forced to the Joker after that big moment, all the way into the tyres, but no damage. And just look how slip it is. You can see how slick the tarmac looks.
Linerud in the background, super sideways. Wonderful stuff from the four-wheel drive. Supercars. 600 horsepower is just about enough in the wet. Checker flag fell. Good drive by everyone. And here we go, they're on to the wets. In the first ever season of the FIA World Rallycross Championship, the drivers and teams have travelled all over the world, and the final round will be hosted in Argentina.
We've decided to go to Argentina because it's a really great step, I think, for Rallycross generally. We moved to a World Championship. We were looking for a good geographical spread of events, and when we talked to promoters, you know, the promoter in Argentina, he's a WRC promoter, he's Dakar promoter, and he felt that Rallycross would have a great home in Argentina.
Bueno, Argentina tiene una muy buena fecha de...
I have been playing host for almost 30 years to WRC events, so we are really very interested because this Rallycross category has experienced an extraordinary attraction for everyone all over the world, and we are really happy to play host in this last round of 2014.
Una fecha del Campeonato del Mundo de esta edición 2014.
San Luis has a great ambition to bring sports and use sports tourism to generate their economy. We are part now of what they're calling Speed Week. It's going to be again this festival, which is an incredible chance for us to showcase Rallycross to a new audience, but part of a bigger event.
Tener la categoría por primera vez.
As you may know, this is the very first time that the category will come to Latin America, and in Latin America, and particularly in Argentina. In Argentina, there are two big sports, the passion for football and the passion for motor racing. So I think it would be a completely different event with all these passionate fans.
Bueno, con mucha
We have really great expectations because you're running the last round of this championship, so we are happy to crown the champion in Argentina.
Me gustó mucho más de lo que yo pensaba.
I'm really very surprised because really it is amazing. It is adrenaline at its highest level, and I think it will really be a complete success in Argentina.
2014 has been an incredible year. First year of a World Championship. I don't think we could have asked for anything more special than going to Canada, having great success there. The Turkish event's going to be fantastic. It's a permanent track. So I think when we end up in Argentina, it will be a long year, but one that I think we'll all be very proud of, and one that will show that Rallycross has a great future.
So tricky times for the drivers. Who decides on what for the wheels and tyres? Henning Solberg, Peter Hedström, Topi Heikkinen, PG Anderson, and Guttorm Lindefeld, sorry. Now, Henning Solberg apparently in this one is on dry tyres, everybody else is on wets. Now what would Markland have been on Andrew in the last one? You think dry?
I think it'd be dry, yeah. I don't think they had that time to change it. So interesting to see, normally when they declare it a wet race they have the extra time, but they did that this morning, so do they do that for each race? I don't know if they get the extra time to change.
So Henning on the dry tyres. Let's see who hooks up away from the line. That'll be interesting. Heikkinen should have a great idea on the RPM from Markland. Does he get a brilliant start as well? No, he doesn't! The total opposite. Toppy's dumped on the start line, and it's Henning Solberg on the dry tyres who goes into turn one first. Oh, up the inside, Hedström has hit him. Has he broken the car?
He's broken Henning's suspension. He's right front, look, his right front wheel. Again, we see broken suspension from contact. Nothing Henning can do though. You know, he'd won the start. Again, we saw slot one. The car really moved around on the start, so that dips away. So it's not a great start from the wet. He was out there minding his own business, and it got a massive whack. You can see on board here. Look how much steering lock he's got. So trying to go straight.
So disappointing. And Henning as well was sitting
third overall.
So can he still make it? He could still make it. Surely they're on the right. Oh no. What? This is going to be interesting because some of these drivers in the top 12 have had one bad heat. Henning Solberg was sitting third overall, and he's decided he's got to stop the car. So he's going to get 0 points for this one. We're going to have to find out whether or not he makes it through to the semi-finals as the rest of this Heat 4 plays out in Germany. Not only have we had the lottery of turn one, but the lottery of the rain as well. It's fascinating stuff. Henning at the back of the straight there.
He didn't look too happy, and I can understand that. It was a big hit at the inside, and you know, we all know. Look at Linfeld's rear wing there,
hanging off as well.
We all know, you know, turn one here is very hard. We all know it's hard racing. That's what we like. But that was a very big hit at the inside, and I can understand him being very annoyed with that.
Henning had a good, nice bit of timing there as the other cars came by. He got out and shook his head. I wondered he didn't shake his
quite
fist.
do a Martin Schanker, did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't go quite as mental as that, did he? But a great gesture from him to let the other drivers know I'm not a very happy chap. Hedström has jokered. Anderson is out. Where's Anderson? Second place. So how are the lap times looking, Andrew?
They're doing a 41.2 was Anderson's best. He's on the wet tyre, we believe. Martin did 41 dead on the dry tyre, so it's very close between the two tyres. As I say, the team's waiting to go out and race. We'll just be waiting for the last minute to see when whether they go on dry or wet Cooper tyres.
The rain's stopped now, and we literally have blue sky coming in as fast as you like from the end of the circuit. You'll know when it's here because it'll all brighten up. It'll look like a beautiful day in Germany, and that'll be when the slicks go back on over the line. Or the two Hedstrom cars coming together, being very careful not to hit each other. PG Anderson with the number 100 on his car. That's a reference to the fact he is the 100th different driver to take part in this headline supercar class of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. A fantastic statistic in the first year. 101, in fact, is here as well. Now 68-year-old Per Eklund carrying that number on his car.
I'm not sure what's happened to Häkkinen because he's disappeared off the scene, and I don't know if he's, you know, his last lap was the fastest lap of the race, but
not sure where he is on the circuit.
He's certainly dropped back in.
There he is, Häkkinen in front of the commentary position. He's just about to come into your picture, top right. There he goes into the joke lap. So Häkkinen,
I think he was held up in all of the turn 1 action, wasn't it?
Where was Häkkinen? Häkkinen overall was 6th, so I don't think this is going to dump him completely out. It's not going to be his greatest heat time ever. But Häkkinen has at least made it to the finish fairly near behind, and with all the wet times for everybody else, maybe he'll still make it through. PG Anderson takes the win then from Hedstrom. Lindefeld in 3rd, Häkkinen and Solberg with a DNF. That's where they slot in. Look, still absolutely nowhere near the dry times of Kristoffersen. 2:36 at the front. Henning Solberg looking a little bit forlorn at the side of the road.
So Henning on the inside, you can see his car moves around a lot, as we've seen. Look, he's in the lead, goes a little bit deep, trying to get it turned. That was a big hit on the way in, you know.
Could Hedstrom have done anything, Andrew? That's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure. It wasn't intent, was there?
No, there wasn't intent, but I can see why Solberg would be annoyed with that, because he's on the outside and it was a big hit. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Too late, Henning. They won't see that in the mirror at 150 clicks, will they? So there we go. Sliding wide on the exit, really wide. But Anderson held on. Well, Neil Cole is up in the spotters tower with Henning Solberg's wife.
We can see that Henning does not look very happy. From your point of view, what happened there?
In my point of view right now, it was just looking like a racing accident in the start, but Henning was thinking something else when it was happening, but I see now that it was a racing accident.
But massive disappointment. What can happen now?
Maybe the rain has helping Henning a little bit, that many of these drivers not have so good times now, because Henning have three very good heat before, so now it's very exciting to see the times.
And get the car fixed just in case?
I think they fixed that very fast, so now we just cross our fingers.
Heat 4, race 9, it's the final one. Andreas Backerud, Mattias Ekstrom, Timmy Hansen, Robin Larsson and Timur Timosyanov. It's a wonderful, wonderful lineup. The track conditions are changing. We can see it right out of the commentary position now. The sun's shining, there's a dry line appearing. And we believe that the Peugeots are on wet and the rest are on dries. Whether they've had time to change those Cooper tyres again just in the last seconds. We can see Hansen with a bit of lock on down on the grid. So we think both the Peugeots might be on wets. Can you see that from here, Andrew Jordan?
Yeah,
it looks
I think
like
Hansen's definitely like who's on wet. It's quite surprised at that. Sometimes you find that teams, if they've got two cars in the same race, would split their options.
Gamble one each way, yeah.
So they've both gone for wet, so it's going to be interesting. The sun's coming out now. Kenneth, I wonder how much input he had on the decision to go wet.
Loads. I bet he's a rallycross legend, isn't he? And you'd trust your tyre choice to Kenneth, wouldn't you? He'd say,
he's
just
won a
calmly,
few championships, hasn't he?
He'd give you good eye contact and just calmly say, we're doing with this tyre choice. You go, OK, Kenneth, that's fine. Absolute legend of rallycross. Up here on the Iron Spotters Tower, looking down, there he is. That's the feed that they get, TV feeds. They can see the bottom of the circuit. It's crucial here at the Estering because they can't see the whole track. They'll be calling the Joker laps. Sun shines down on turn 1. Even start across. Hansen's just dropped back a little bit, and it looks like Ekstrom's going to go into turn 1 first of all. Backerud is right up behind him. Hansen in a line, Timosyanov trying to go around the outside. Hansen into the back of Backerud into the side of Ekstrom. Ekstrom faces the wrong way round. Mattias Ekstrom on the gas, spins the car round. He's got to chase them down the hill now. He's a long way back. Wet conditions, he's likely to make it anyway. Hansen up the inside of Backerud. Timosyanov's trying to go with him.
That'll be
Backerud
that
shuts
traction
the
on the
door.
wet tyre. You can
Wow.
see off the start again, Backerud got a bad start because of that slot. It grabbed all over the place. Ekstrom is into the lead. I think Backerud got a hit, which then put him into
Hansen
Ekstrom.
into Backerud into Ekstrom.
It looked like the Peugeots were holding back Backerud straight coast, good speed in there. It looked like the Peugeots were hanging back a little bit at turn 1. It then looked like, again, one of the Peugeots sounds sick. We saw in Timmy in the last heat, his engine sounds sick. As they go past here, one of them sounds very rough. But I would think that the wet tyres gave great traction. That's where the difference will be, is on the dirt sections.
Ekstrom hasn't jokered, but he's got himself back onto the back of the tail. Unfortunately, in front of him, Larsson and Backerud have jokered. So Ekstrom is going to have to pass them using talent if he wants to make any time up. I'm pretty sure he's safe because he was sitting in TQ prior to this one, so it doesn't really matter for Ekstrom, does it? He's just got to get it round and get that Audi through to the semis.
Yeah, I still think he'll be pretty annoyed because he went into the corner in the lead, but it's interesting to see, you know, that Hansen and Timojanov with those wet tyres at the minute are 1-2. One of them's still definitely sounding rough, so I haven't solved that problem on Hansen's car.
But doesn't seem to be losing any pace, Andrew. That's what's interesting. If you look, his teammate Timojanov's right behind him. How are the lap times looking now the sun's out?
Yeah, Larsson's just on 38.2, so back getting towards probably about a second off the complete dry time, whereas we saw earlier when it rained, they were 2.5 seconds off. So, but saying that Hansen's he's done a 38.3, so the wet tyres are holding up well. The biggest gain, obviously, for those wet tyres will be on the wet gravel, where they'll get much better traction, but then they'll lose out a little bit on this dry tarmac.
On board with Ekstrom, these two guys, Hansen and Timojanov, have yet to joke it. In goes Hansen. Is Timo going to go with him? Hansen goes in, Timojanov doesn't. Hansen very, very tidy through the joke lap. Can he find the track? He's got to come out. Bakkerud's going to race him up towards turn 1. Oh, brilliant job by Hansen. Super tidy joke lap. He comes out in front of Bakkerud. It's just down now then to Timojanov. Very, very close. So look at Larsson all over the back of Bakkerud. Down the hill, is anyone going to pop out and have a look up the inside? These guys are the fastest from Heat 3 and they're proving that in Heat 4. It's a very clever drive by them so far.
Ekstrom's just done a 37.6, which is pretty much back at dry time. So, you know, the sun comes out straight away, it dries up, considering how heavy that rain was. But Hansen's done a great job because he's taken the joker lap, so I think it's going to, you know, Timojanov goes for it now. So it's going to be interesting, it's going to be close where he slots in.
Oh, Timojanov's run wide, Timojanov's run wide. He didn't do as well as Hansen. Hansen's going to get it just from Timojanov. Bakkerud in third. Timojanov made a tiny mistake in the joker lap, and that was all it needed to let his teammate Timmy Hansen take the win. There we go. They look happy enough, don't they? That's not a bad result. 1-2. The sun has come back out. They've shot themselves back up the standings. I should think they'll be well happy. Hansen rolling back down the hill. Here's confirmation of the result. Timmy Hansen, Timojanov, Bakkerud, Larsson and Ekstrom. Let's see where they slot in. Okay, so Hansen, Timojanov and Bakkerud make it onto that first page in the top 8. So that's the first race which has got anywhere near the dry pace. But look at Kristoffersen, the heat winner, 5 seconds clear of Hansen. Neil Cole is in the Iron Spotters Tower right now with Kenneth Hansen.
Very impressive race by both the drivers, and the tyre choice looked like it was the right one.
You know, I have some experience here, so I took that card and I know it could work, and it was a tricky condition, you know, because some heats have been very, very good, but we played the right card.
It looks like even despite the slower times, they'll still be safe.
Yeah, we should be safe for a good position in the semi, so that's what we was aiming for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's the replays of that final Supercar race in Heat 4.
Here we go, Ekstrom's in the lead, looking backward, looking at the inside. Yeah, he got a hit into Bakkerud, so Bakkerud got a hit from behind, I think from Hansen on board with Ekstrom. Look, their big hit turned him straight round. Nothing he could do there, nothing Bakkerud could do.
He was unlucky
either.
as well because Ekstrom was waiting on the throttle. You could see, couldn't you? He's just coming through, he's waiting and then gets collected.
Yeah, very frustrating, but that was one of those typical Turn 1 accidents, unfortunately. Real close finish between the two Peugeots here. Look, Hansen just comes through. Timojanov just overcooked it a little bit into the joker, but great race for the Peugeot Hansen team.
Well, after knockout qualifying then, Timojanov is in the top qualifying position. Ekstrom, Hansen, Larsson, Petter Solberg is in. Kristoffersen, Tiedemann, Heikkinen is in. Hedström, Rustad, Bakkerud and Holter. Reinis Nittisch hasn't made the cut. That's important. Into the semi-finals. Odds go to 1, evens go to 2. So it's Timojanov on pole in semi-final 1. Mattias Ekstrom on pole in semi-final 2. Coming up, we go live for the Supercar semis. Full race coverage from the Super 1600 final. And then it's the grand finale, the Supercar final, as it happens live.
Mattias, for both you and for the team, it's been a very good morning this morning. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, warm-up, we're practicing some joker laps to start off with, and then Heat 3, I had a very good one. So clean run, actually, and then for Heat 4, had a little bit of contact in the first corner, got spun around, still managed to get rolling again, and total 10th time, and then in the intermediate second. So it's pretty, I would say, satisfying to be in the pole position in one of the semis. Also, Pontus have had a good day as a team boss. I'm a bit proud, and we have a lot of fans, and we have some friends here, and we have some partners joining us to have a look what rallycross is about. Because in Germany we are not yet there where we want to be, but and then the weather playing into our hands with some sun, it's always making everything much easier.
The weather's been unpredictable. How do you manage the situation, team boss and driving, when suddenly it's heavy rain and suddenly it's dry sunshine?
I mean, I take care of my car when it comes to the hot situation, and Pontus have to decide for himself what he wants. So the team principal role is more into the hands of Emil once the other decisions are to be taken. So once I put my driver's suit on, I try to focus as the driver.
Okay, we're going to talk to Pontus now, but quickly, I saw you talking to your dad, who of course has successful history here. Has he given you any advice?
I mean, he's always nice to have here. He's smiling a lot and giving some positive energy, and he gave me some tips for the first corner, because even you can't blame everybody else, because this problem is known since he drove here 20 years ago. So I got some good tips which I will try and use in the same as now.
Thanks, Mattias. Now let's go and find Pontus. Pontus Tiedemann, very impressive to be through to the semi-finals. How are you enjoying this circuit in Germany?
No, I really enjoy it. It's a nice atmosphere here, and yeah, it's really, weather has been a little up and down today, but now the sun is shining, so everything is good.
And quickly, how do you transfer your rally skills to the Joker lap here?
No, it's quite tricky, so, but actually the last heat I did now, it was quite good. Anyway, I had a little struggle with that earlier, but yeah, just do it sometimes and keep to think about it, and then it's suddenly just was there.
And finally, quickly, just give us a feeling of what you hope to achieve in the semi-final.
My aim is to get top 3. I will give everything. I've been a little up and down this week, so I really need to fight hard, so I will give everything.
Thank you.
Well, a crowd of around 10,000 people here at the Estering in Buxtehude, Germany. Round 9 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship, anticipating fantastic semi-finals. As we are up in the commentary box, my name's Andrew Coley, alongside me is Andrew Jordan. Andrew, we've been trying to pick a winner, but really, honestly, it's a bit too much of a lottery to be able to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this is probably the first weekend we've really struggled to come up with who we think's the favourite. There's, been favourites through the weekend, but Turn 1, as always, here in Germany's changed that a lot through the heats. So, huge amount of action, and I can't wait to see who wins.
4 different heat winners as well, so it's not been a dominant performance. Petter looked a bit flustered when things didn't go his way earlier on today. Matthias and him have both looked fast, but you've got to get that start right.
Absolutely. A lot of the guys up at the front have had ups and downs. Petter was he had a really bad heat, broken suspension, but he bounced back from that with a very quick heat time in the 4th. There are lots of ups and downs, but he's still in a strong position with the championship. And we've said so many times about Petter at the minute, he's driving with championship mentality. Even if that means taking a podium, he'll be happy with that. He's not all about the wins at the minute.
Even with that championship mentality, though, it went wrong at Turn 1, and really that's the thing here, isn't it? It's traditionally it was the last round of the European Championship. It's coming up for the last quarter of the World Championship. He just wants to stay out of trouble, doesn't he?
Absolutely. It makes for great TV for everyone watching, everyone here, but for the drivers it's quite a nervous part of the circuit, because once they're through that, they know the racing can be pretty clean, but it's very hard racing at Turn 1.
Well, looking forward to the semi-finals. It won't be long now, and the cars will be on the grid and ready to go.
Every detail has been checked.
We have the perfect plan.
Nothing has been left to chance.
Car, team, driver are ready. But you can't plan for everything.
With only 4 rounds to go, the Estering circuit in Germany could be a factor that will make or break championship dreams. Just ask championship leader Petter Solberg.
Last year, we were fastest, we had a pole position, and had a very good start. And came 100 meters from the start, Duran tried to go between me and Timur. Timur turned over to the right, he touched Duran, and Duran touched my backhand, and I went left and then straight into the wall. So you see, things like that can happen. So you have no insurance over the points that you can get.
The chasing pack will be hoping Solberg suffers a similar fate to his 2013 final incident, a feeling the Germans call Schadenfreude, taking pleasure in others' misfortune. It wasn't just Petter who suffered in 2013. There have been 3 big rolls in the Rallycross RX era, and Timmy Hansen was in 2 of them.
Last year it was a big moment down this straight. I was side by side with Markland, and we banged doors all the way down the straight. Just when I brake, when the car is in a sensitive position, then we had another touch, and I felt the car going that way, and all by a sudden I feel the car rolling. If the car can go forward, you make that last attempt. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great car after that roll.
The championship table looks like this. With back-to-back victories, Solberg has extended his lead at the top, and mathematically only those in the top 7 have a chance of taking the title. After it all being square at the top, Fordo MSC have narrowly taken the lead in the Teams Championship, but it's still a 3-horse race. The European Supercar Championship, along with the Super 1600 and Touring Car classes, all have only 2 events left on the calendar. Sergei Zagumenov and Daniel Lund have an 18 and 17-point lead in their respective championships. If they can extend this to 31 by the end of Sunday, they will be champions. Meanwhile, it's tight at the top in the European Supercar Championship, with it all to play for over the final 2 rounds. Round 9 in Germany is the last of the tracks the drivers have experience on before we move on to the all-new Italian, Turkish and Argentinian venues to finish the season. Located near the rock and roll town of Hamburg in northern Germany, the Estering circuit could prove pivotal in the drivers' championship ambitions. Here's the track preview presented by Ion Cameras. Away from the start, it's uphill and into a tightening turn 1, carnage nearly always, all the way down the hill, flat in top gear, a tight hairpin at the bottom, and then winding the way back up in between the arm coat, mixed surfaces. Finally, the Joker lap at the last corner, and a race to see who crosses the line first.
On track, the first corner is very difficult. There will be a lot of action. To drive, it's not difficult, but on the battle, it's challenging.
Here's the surface split at Estering. The yellow is dirt and the grey is tar.
So here we are at Estering. I'm at the end of the track, right at the Joker lap. So this is a very special track in that way that the Joker lap is very late. That means that the driver has the decision quite late in the heat to make the decision whether or not go into the Joker lap. And of course also the spotter's mission is very important to also know how much time you lose in the Joker lap compared to the normal track. So if you leave the Joker lap to the last lap, that means that you have no time to correct your mistake, because at the end of the Joker lap you have the finish line.
Well, if you've only just joined us, this is what you've missed so far. It didn't take long for turn 1 to bite yesterday. Markland and Bakkerud came together. Looked like they got away with it, but they both sustained damage. Watch this spin from Bakkerud. Said it was one of the most terrifying moments of his career. Markland did well to avoid him. They both had a dreadful heat as a result of it. Timur Timizyanov, the current European champion, double champion, of course, had a battle with Petter Solberg in their heat 2. Both of them flying. Petter, though, was taking no risks. They set a decent heat time. Neither of them could get near this guy. Mattias Ekstrom was flying despite smashing the front right corner off the car at the final corner. He went fastest in heat 2. Impressive for Audi at home. Nitish had a shocker in heat 3. He blew his turbo. Bakkerud, his teammate, recovered and took the heat victory. Fastest overall. Good for him. Petter Solberg in heat 4 made it out in the dry. Set a decent time. This crash, Jochen Koeks then collected by Janssen the side of the car. The damage is unbelievable. Glad to tell you, despite the red flag, both those guys are okay. And then the rain fell. That delay meant it was absolutely pouring down. Markland got a stunning start in his race. Unfortunately, though, the times were very slow. Dried up later on. Hansen beat his teammate Timizyanov over the line, but no one could get near to the guys who'd gone out when it was bone dry at the start of the heat. Here's how they stood after qualifying. Timizyanov was on top, Ekstrom second, then Timmy Hansen, Larsen, Petter Solberg, Kristoffersen, Tiedemann, Heikkinen, Hedström, Rustad, Bakkerud and Holter with the top 12. Rainis Nitish, you can see in 16th, is out. Odds go to semi-final 1, evens to semi-2 is Timizyanov and Ekstrom, who sit on the pole positions. Cannot wait for the semi-finals to get underway. This is what we've got coming up for you in the next hour. Those Supercar semi-finals live. The live Super 1600 final. And then we have the live Supercar final for you as well. The action so far today has been fantastic, so don't miss any of that. Earlier on, Neil Cole was down on the pre-grid and he caught up with some of the Supercar semi-final drivers.
Toppy, it's the calm before the storm. It feels like we haven't spoken to you much this weekend. You've just been getting the job done. What do you have to do now in the semi?
Of course, everybody knows the first corner is really rough for everyone. But still, we need to push hard to make it happen. So I need to be third and cross the finish line on that place. So it's not easy, but I do my best. And start is really important here. And like we have seen, there have been many crashes in this weekend. But I do my best and I try to be in the final.
Thank you. Good luck. Mattias, you've almost not put a foot wrong so far this weekend. We're about to hit the semi-finals. Is there extra pressure because it's a home race for Audi?
No, I think I'm pretty pleased already winning the Euro RX, so at least I get one big trophy. So now the semis and the finals for the World RX is still the big one everybody wants to win. I've learned a lesson in first corner, so if I can survive turn 1 2 times now, or at least in the semis, I would be very pleased.
Thank you. Good luck.
Well, my name's Andrew Coley. I'm delighted to be joined here at round 9 of the World Championship by Andrew Jordan, who of course was a podium finisher way back earlier in the year in the UK. Andrew, action here has been unbelievable this weekend, hasn't it?
The first corner's had a few casualties, hasn't it? As always here in Germany, it's manic and it's such a key to the race victory.
Here's how they line up for semi-final number 1. Timo Timosjanov and Timmy Hansen. It's a Peugeot Hansen lockout on the front row. Peter Solberg and Pontus Tiedemann on row 2. Row 3, Peter Hedström and Andreas Backer just about made it through. There's the view from the Ion Spotters Tower. We are just at the far end of that and we can see down onto the grid. Wonderful view of the action all weekend. Timosjanov is on slot number 1. We saw some dodgy starts from there earlier on today, but maybe just in the wet. Let's see if it's the same in the dry. Away from the line, bad start, Solberg, great start, Timosjanov and Hansen down towards turn 1, Tiedemann slots in behind them, Timosjanov runs wide, tapped Hansen, Hansen's going to try and start in, Solberg's gone all the way up the inside, Tiedemann though I think has taken the lead, so dust in the air, we need to see them come over the crest, who is in front, Solberg around the outside of Tiedemann!
Solberg come back from there, he's got an awful start, drop to the very back, but we've seen so many times today, actually going into the first corner, holding back a little bit, letting the carnage happen in front, it's paid off for him.
That is the luck of a guy who's winning the World Championship. If it carries on like that, he's away, isn't he? I mean, look at that. He bogged on the start. He was so far back.
I was actually quite surprised with the Peugeots because they really looked like they were fighting hard into it. And I wondered whether they'd had a little bit of a chat before the race, a little bit of a plan into turn 1. But Timosjanov ran very deep in there, carried a lot of speed, obviously trying to cover Hansen off. But then the guys behind us saw that happening,
let them all through
and got underneath them and a good exit off.
Didn't seem to be much contact between Timosjanov and Hansen, but really that team tactics there haven't quite worked out.
No, and now Solberg, we've seen how quick he is when he gets in clear air. Tiedemann's in second, so great
So
result.
yeah, one of the Peugeot Hansens is going to end up not making it through if they're not careful.
Hansen's got ahead of Timosjanov as well, so Timosjanov's dropped right back from pole.
So Hansen then sitting in third. The only person to have taken his joke lap so far is Peter Hedström. The dust is really, really dry. We've had pouring rain this morning. It was mud this morning. It's so dry now. Backward slings it into the joker lap. You can see him on the right-hand side of your picture. Graphics at the top of your screen tell you who's done it and who hasn't. So it's grey when they've done it, it's orange if they haven't. I think Backward's going to struggle to make it through to the final.
Yeah, I think he is, and let's remember it's on race position. We're used to so many times in the heats, always saying about it being race time, so the guys don't necessarily need to fight that hard as long as they get a quick time. Look there, we've seen him, so a few little tugs on the handbrake, gets the car turned through the long corner, up the gears. It's a real quick section. You'll see a little bit of left foot brake, the car's dancing over the bumps, hard on the brakes, and a little bit of handbrake again. He uses the handbrake, but it was seen earlier, it was only small amounts of it. He doesn't want to have a big slide, just to try and get the car turning. Timosjanov, I can see how
he's run wide. Timosjanov's run wide in the joker lap. So Timosjanov, from where we are, has had a disaster in the joker lap. Game over for him. He's dropped to the back of the field. Timosjanov is definitely not going to make it through. Timmy Hansen is all over the back of Pontus Tiedemann.
Sorry to interrupt, Matt. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the joker in the next lap, because he seems like he's got a lot of space behind. Look behind Timmy there in the Peugeot.
So get out now.
His team, right, take the joker. You've got nothing really to lose. Let's see if we can jump Tiedemann in the Audi into second.
So Hansen then, Andrew Jordan thinks it's a good time to joker. We'll see whether or not the Hansen team agree up in the Iron Spotters Tower here in the dirt. It'll be very hard for Timmy to spot his braking, but oh no, Tiedemann's gone with him. So from the commentary you can see Tiedemann has gone with Hansen. They both jokered at the same time, so no chance to get through. They want to come through in second and third. It's easy for them. Backwards in fourth. It's Hedstrom and then Timosyanov at the back, so not great for the Russian champion.
We were saying this earlier, with this joker lap, the approach, you really commit to it very, very early on in the corner. So if you're committed, if they've given him the radio call, right, joker this lap, and he's committed, carried more speed in, and then Tiedemann's probably been told to do it to cover him. You can't change your line, you've committed, you've got your car set in on an angle for the joker lap, you can't change it.
Petter Solberg goes to the joker lap. Petter Solberg, you're on board with him now, he's in the joker, on the handbrake. It's the tightest joker lap of the year. It's a proper piece of rally stage. It's bang on for the 2003 World Rally Champion. Comes out in front, he leads the championship at the minute. It's a massive lead for Solberg. I thought he might trip up here, but he hasn't so far. He's going to make it through to the final. Tiedemann is going with him. He'll be hoping for better luck, and Hansen is currently in third. Then Backer and Hedstrom, Timosyanov at the moment are too far back. Nobody left to joker, so it's just a case of getting around this lap clean. Will he be listening for the car now, nervous, or just crack on?
No, I think just crack on. He knows it's the last lap. He's got huge pace. We've seen all weekend how quick he was to the joker lap. So he did that on lap 5, so he's got another lap left to run on the normal lap. But superb drive, considering he went into the first corner pretty much in last position to come through that. Spectacular stuff from Solberg.
Petter Solberg wins semi-final number 1. Pontus Tiedemann goes through P2. Hansen is P3. He goes through to the final. Unfortunately for the other 3, their weekend is over. Big smiles from Solberg. He would have smiled like that on the exit of turn 1. He knew that was where he got it done, and he's well pleased. Fantastic, fantastic job by Solberg just in turn 1. I'd love to see a look at that again. Let's have a look and see whether we might.
So if we can see the Peugeots, because that's where the kind of action started to happen. Timosyanov carried a lot of speed in. Look, there's a slight, I don't even know if they did touch, look, but looks like Tiedemann here has got the inside, so you're thinking, right, he's in the lead. But then on board with Solberg, so look, he's getting onto the clean time. I've got the inside, a bit of contact, that pushed Tiedemann out wide, but then car straight, good exit, side by side. Look, Tiedemann's giving him a little bit back there, a little bit of bumping and boring, nothing too much, but just look at that, look at the slow-mo of how he transfers the car through this last corner.
His car's soft, isn't it? We know it's got good traction. He's told us all week, and I'm running a full rally setup on traction, and maybe on that gravel race out of turn 1 there, down the hill, Solberg just picked up enough to get past Tiedemann, and he never looked back. No one came near him. Ominous sight for the other drivers. Reinis Nitish is not in the semi-finals, the man who's in second place in the World Rallycross Championship. So tricky times for the championship, and great for Petter Solberg. 6 points towards his title race there. Pontus Tiedemann in second, Hansen third, Baccarat, Hedstrom and Timosyanov are going no further. Neil Cole is up on the Iron Spotters Tower with Petter Solberg's team.
That turn 1 historically has been bad news for Petter, but he's converted that into good news today.
Yeah. Had a bit of a bad start, but managed to find an opening in the first corner, and basically it was about securing the finals for the rest.
It almost looked like that slower start could have been a tactic.
Yeah, we were trying to find a secure line through the first corner, seeing what the others were doing, and we came out on top on this one.
Well done, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, semi-final number 2 is lining up already. That's probably the least carnage we've seen in turn 1 all weekend. Everyone just seemed to have a sensible head-on. Petter got away with the lottery the best. Of course, all the heats, Andrew, we've had 5 cars in a row. They've been going in 5 into 1, yeah, all off the same line. This staggered start in the semi-finals just means, doesn't it, they have a little bit more time to make a decision.
Yeah, all right.
Semi-final 2, let's go through the grid first. Sorry, Andrew. Here's the lineup then for semi-final 2. Mattias Ekstrom, Robin Larsson on row 1. Johan Kristoffersen and Topi Heikkinen on row 2. And on row 3, Tommy Rustad and Frode Holter. So, Andrew, the gaps between the rows, just a little bit more time for these guys to get to turn 1 with a stagger on and not all just come together on the way.
Yeah, so they're not starting 5 abreast, but equally they're still going for it 100% because, you know, they've got to get into the top 3. That being said, they know they need to get through without too much damage. So let's have this conversation after the first corner in the final.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Of course, it was the final where it all went wrong for Petter last year. I have to say by now he's probably totted up enough points, particularly with Nitish's problems, as you have a look at Topi Heikkinen, that Petter knows he's had a pretty decent weekend. Having said that, Italy starts in 5 days' time. And they won't want to be wrecking a car here.
No, I think with Solberg, though, going through to the final, I think obviously he's going to want to win, but it'll be the first thing in his mind is staying out of trouble, because he knows his championship competitors have had a bit of a worse weekend than him. He's in a great position to get some good points on them, so he's not going to take too many risks, I wouldn't think.
Clever driving from Solberg. We've seen it all year. He's flicked the championship switch, and he's done a good job so far. There's Ekstrom on board, waiting for the signal from the marshal. They're good to go. The marshal puts his ear protection on because it's that loud down on the start of a supercar grid. Thumbs up for all the drivers. Anti-lag on, the revs are on. Ekstrom's car squats down, waiting for the light to change. Away, brilliant start by Kristoffersson on row 2, but I don't think he's going to find a way through. Ekstrom has to slot in behind Larson, so Larson is in the box seat into turn 1. Toppy Heikkinen around the outside, Ekstrom up the inside. It's a race now down the hill from Ekstrom and Larson. I think Larson's got it though. On board with Ekstrom, looking forward at Larson. What a brilliant run by Robin Larson down there, coming down to the bottom of the hill. Toppy's having a little look. Oh, it's Toppy, in fact, who's in front of Kristoffersson.
Great start from Larson. His car's so good off the line, always very consistent starts. It sounds like he runs a really aggressive anti-lag system, but great start. He's been super quick this weekend, the real star of the weekend. Had a little bit of bad luck in some of the heats, but I think it's going to be very hard to beat. The two different S1s of Robin Larson and Mattias Ekstrom, they look very different, and I'm sure they're set up very different, but still both very quick.
The build of them's totally different as well, isn't it? They're using very different layouts on the cars and everything, but it'd be fantastic to see this. Ekstrom will want to put one over Larson, right? He won't like it if the Audi win goes to another team in Germany.
Absolutely not, but Heikkinen's looking very strong behind Ekstrom, so it's now down to the teams when, you know, from Mattias's point of view, when do they try and get him to do the Joker lap? Because obviously they want him to get ahead of Larson, but equally they need to cover him from behind, so it'll be very interesting to see when these top 4, when they all decide to Joker.
And they're going to need to do it, aren't they? Carrying that momentum through, and that's what we see in the background now. Holter goes to the Joker lap, carries the momentum. If you're that close up behind, then it's difficult. If you're right up behind like some of these guys are, you can't Joker fast, because you were saying about how quickly you take the speed in, so you almost want a little gap to be able to carry the speed into the Joker and maximise the potential of it.
Absolutely, I think that's where the main part of the time, or certainly a lot of the time, can be made up on the Joker. He's not necessarily a big slide for Kristoffersson then. It looked like he was going to go, I don't know if he's going to go around or park it in the apex.
I think he's gone round. Look, we can just see the cars coming over the crest. Kristoffersson has gone, so Kristoffersson has spun it. That leaves him out front and clear. Oh, very, very sideways from Ekstrom in second place. Ekstrom is all over the back of Larson now. Toppy's there as well.
I wouldn't mind betting Ekstrom's trying to line up a good X out of here. On the last lap before, he tried to get Larson to go in a bit deep, try and get underneath him and get good stuff.
There's
That's on the apex.
Kristoffersson is bang on the apex of the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. There'll be wave double yellows down there. He needs to get out of the way as fast as he can. They're coming down the hill now very, very quickly indeed. Larson's going to be the first person to come across it. He goes wide, he spots it, Ekstrom spots it, so does Toppy. That's it, they're clear. Away and back onto the gravel section.
It's going to be, are we going to see Ekstrom go for the Joker this lap? Because he's got a little bit of space in front, so we as you say he can...
He does. Ekstrom goes to the Joker lap. Ekstrom goes to the... You're on board with him now. This is how tight it is on the handbrake.
And look, it goes round to the right, so you've really got to flick it right there, get it straight.
Was that any good, Andrew? I wasn't sure in the middle section.
I think he got held up a little bit on the approach, as we were saying earlier. That's, I think, where a lot of the time can be made up, is the actual approach, so not necessarily through the Joker lap, but how much speed he can carry onto it. And it looked like then when he was carrying speed, he just got balked a little bit by Larson on the way in.
Larson then with a good gap now over Toppy. They all know what's happening down the hairpin here. The hairpin is now not an overtaking opportunity. To be honest with you, the gaps that are developing between these guys, you see Ekstrom out on the dirty line around the outside. There isn't going to be any overtaking now. It's just a case of who goes through in what position to final. Larson Jokers. It's tidy on the way in. Handbrakes through. Around. He's a little bit wide on the second element of it. Toppy's gone in behind him. Larson comes out in front. It's a race between Toppy and Ekstrom. Ekstrom's going to get him on the way up to turn 1. Ekstrom comes out just in front.
I think Larson's guys probably got him to do that because they know how quick Ekstrom is in clear air. Look how close Heikkinen is now. Flat in 6th gear down here. You can see the car's bumping around a lot. But they know how quick Ekstrom is in clear air, so by going on lap 5, they know that if he comes out in front, it's very hard to overtake around here, so they're just covering Ekstrom's pace off there.
Well, Larson, of course, won the touring car category here last year. Great drive by him then. He's moved up to Supercar. It was so promising at the start of the year. He did a brilliant job at Linden Hill. He's had a rotten middle section of the year. It looks like a return to form in Germany. Larson wins semi-final number 2. Mattias Ekstrom goes through in second. Third place goes to Toppy Heikkinen. Brilliant drive by those three. I think it was a mistake there from Kristoffersson, really, which just removed the pressure for the other drivers in semi-final number 2. It was 4, wasn't it? One of them wasn't going to make the cut, and then Kristoffersson unfortunately dropped it at the hairpin. Here's confirmation of that result. Larsen, Ekstrom and Heikkinen go through. Rustad, Holter and Kristoffersen are out. This is the lineup for the final. Your two semi-final winners on the front row, Robin Larsen and Petter Solberg. Second row, it's an EKSRX lockout, Ekstrom and Tiedemann. Ooh, wouldn't want to be doing one of those two cars. Timmy Hansen and Topi Heikkinen at the back. Fantastic lineup for the final. Cannot wait to see that. Andrew, what happened to Kristoffersen, do you think?
It looked like that corner gets very, very dusty on the approach. We've seen so many cars lose the rear end as they go in there, and it looked like he just got it jacked up a little bit on the brakes. So here we go for start. Great start there by Larsen. You can see as we go in here, he's already in the lead. It didn't kick off really, it all backed up nicely. Everyone gave each other good room. A little bit of contact as they with Kristoffersen and Ekstrom. Then Larsen out in the hill. This was the moment with Kristoffersen. Yeah, a little bit of tweak on the handbrake and just couldn't quite get it to pull round.
And then what, wouldn't restart, you think? Or could
it's
it be
very hard with
on
these
the way
cars,
in?
that with the anti-lag on and with the turbo, how hot it gets, it's very hard to restart the cars at this sort of temperature. So
oh, look how close it was the first time they came round, not knowing he's there. Yellows, of course, they don't know. Is he in the gravel? Is he on the inside? But no problem for Larsen, who took it from Ekstrom and Topi. Those three, my goodness me, pick a winner for the final. Add in the lottery of the first corner. Going to be tough. Neil Cole is up on the iron spotters towel. Let's see who he's with.
That was hardly a straightforward race, but you've got two cars alongside each other in the final. That must feel good.
Yeah, that feels great. I mean, that's one of the aims we had this year, to have two cars in the final, and here we are. Second row. I think we could have done a bit slightly different choice with the Joker with Mattias, but still two cars in the final is a great result so far, and now everything can happen.
And of course, Mattias has already won one title this weekend, but what about young Pontus doing very well?
Yeah, he does well as well. I mean, we have two good drivers, two good cars, and a bunch of guys in the team that does an amazing job. So, yeah, looking forward to the final now.
Now, I know you've had a lot of guests, a lot of hospitality because it's a home event for Audi. This would be pretty special to bring them a win here.
It would indeed, and I mean, we will do our best for sure to get that P1 here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Both the EKSRX cars into the finals then, alongside each other on row two. It's going to be absolutely fascinating to see which of the Audis can try and take a home win in Germany. Stay with us. Brilliant crowd here at the Estering. It was raining earlier on. It's nice and sunny now. I think we'll take a quick look at Petter Solberg's onboard from semi-final number one. Here we go.
Let's keep an eye. So that's Tiedemann, covers over onto the inside. The Peugeot is right out in the dirt, trying to get it stopped. A little bit of contact there, but that's to be expected at turn one here. Now look on the left of the screen, Tiedemann giving him some back, trying to edge him over into all the dirt. Yeah, because the dirt then runs really wide, so trying to get him in all the rubbish on the track. Gives up the position because he's on the outside. It's the best thing to do. He knows it's the top three.
And then protect the second position.
Absolutely, yeah. And look at the change direction here, into the left-hander, looking back at Tiedemann. Just look how bumpy it is here, but look how close Tiedemann was to the wall there. Precision, you know, there's a lot of rallying as well, so he's used to that precision, very close to trees and all sorts in rallying, but really impressive stuff here from Tiedemann, giving chase to Solberg. It flicks them right and onto the dirt, so braking, little corrections of opposite lock the whole way into this, took on the handbrake.
That little carbon fibre strap you can see on the right side of the screen, that appeared between this event and the previous event. So Petter still working on tiny little bits of development. I think we'll have a look at all the action then from both the semi-finals. See how just we got to the point we're at now.
I love these slow-mos off the start.
Fantastic.
The amount of grip, you've got to remember the 550 horsepower, and you just drop the clutch as quick as you can. Here again, the Peugeot is fighting it out. Hansen did really well to actually get back through that because he was right out in all the dirt. Looked like he was going towards the gravel.
There's that onboard with Petter again.
A little bit of a love tap there, but it's Rallycross turn one, going for the win.
I got it back, as you say, got it back on the way. Great job by Solberg. Look at the car's pitch and dive around. Rally settings all the way. He said it all weekend and it just seems to be working for him. And other drivers have said, haven't they? Two teams, both the Peugeot teams have been testing and have tried Petter settings. They couldn't make them work.
I think you have to drive in a very specific way, and I think Petter's the only guy that can drive that sort of setup.
This was semi-final number two. Larsen and Ekstrom on the front row. That's the crowd's view of turn one. Fantastic place to be watching from. Larsen on the inside there. Ekstrom with him.
Great job by Larson, and for me, he's the one to beat because he's got nothing to lose really in terms of this finals. We know how Solberg is going for the championship. Larson's got nothing to lose at all.
So Larson then, the man who can afford to take the risks. On the front row with Petter Solberg. The Supercar final will be live with us very, very shortly indeed. So Super 1600s first. Few clouds in the sky here at Estering. I don't think there's any sign of the rain, which we saw halfway through Heat 4 earlier on today. Caused carnage. There's Petter Solberg, trying to look confident, having a little chat. He was worried earlier on today, oh, they've got a problem with this, I've got a problem with that. Not excuses so much, Andrew, as I think just trying to cover off everything, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's very much a perfectionist, and obviously when you start getting to this point in the championship, you worry a lot more about a lot of little things. So any little problem that might not have worried you that much at the start of the year, now you know the consequences if it takes you out of a race.
Super 1600s down on the grid. Here's how they line up for the final. Yanis Baumanis and Ernest Stepankus on row 1. Andreas Stefan and Andrzej Smetana on row 2. Ulrich Linnemann and Sergei Zagyamenov on the back row. Zagyamenov, lucky to be in the final, retired after crashing in the semi-final, so must have been the highest place finisher, I think, in that semi-final who didn't do the rerun. I'm not quite sure how he's made it through. I thought it would have gone to one of the lower down qualifiers from the other semi-finals, but either way...
He's going for the championship as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
he's leading the championship.
That's good for him to be able to get back to it, yeah.
Miss Julia's not here. Semi-finals earlier on were just unbelievable in Super 1600. It was carnage. There was a big crash. Miss Julia retired, and we thought, wow, Zagyamenov's done it. And then Zagyamenov crashed into the crashed cars. Let's hope nobody makes the mistakes here. Super 1600 finals ready to go. Revs up. Front-wheel drives away from the line. Oh, dreadful traction for Stefan. He drops back. Linnemann comes forward from the back row. He's gone into 4th place. It's the VW, though, that takes the lead. Stepankus.
He had a great start in the semi-final.
Baumanis up the inside, though. Oh, it's going to be a run all the way down the hill there. Now then, Baumanis all the way. Is he on the inside as they come over the crest? He's alongside him. So Baumanis over the crest, down towards the bottom of the hill. He's got the inside line. Baumanis and Stepankus. Oh, little tap on the way in.
Stepankus, I thought was going to give it up. He tried to sit out around the outside and then duck in. A little bit of contact, but Stepankus is very, very strong in that polo. He was super quick in the semi-final. But Baumanis in this little Twingo, look how small of it is. You know, the change direction on that is great. Zagyamenov carrying a huge amount of speed onto the joker lap. He passed 3 cars on the way in.
Oh, a little bit too much. He's lost time.
A little bit too deep
Looks
in
like
there.
Stefan's right in the side of him. Stefan is in the side of the championship leader, Zagyamenov, as they exit the joker lap. Stefan, of course, is I believe he's the promoter here, or he's something to do with the organising club. Certainly sponsored by the event sponsor, Red Kiwi. So they'll be pleased to see him up in the final. Lots of local fans there with him. But Baumanis, of course, was the top qualifier here. So Baumanis was third, second and third in the heat. So he didn't win any of the heats, but consistently quick and consistently stayed out of trouble.
Yeah, he's been very consistent all weekend. Linnemann in the Peugeot back in 3rd there. He's been very quick as well. A bit unlucky in some of the heats. Hasn't quite had it all his own way, but he's been very, very quick. Linnemann now shoots to the joker lap. So I was just going to say, when's he going to do it? Because he's got the pace certainly to go with the top 2, so it's definitely worth his while to get out of their traffic, try and get into some clear space and see what happens when they take their joker.
Linnemann there. Linnemann, I think, who we thought might be one of the championship leaders. Zagyamenov's door is open. Zagyamenov's door is hanging off the side of the car.
I think that's probably from the semi-final crash, yeah, because he actually ripped the whole left rear wheel off it.
He did, yeah, he did. They've actually done well. We spoke, didn't we, to Rolf Volland just before the semi-finals, and he'd said to Miss Julia Zagyamenov, just don't damage the car, lads. You know, we're 1 and 2 in the championship. Keep it going. What happens?
Well, I don't think they listened to that, did they?
I don't think they did they? Massive shunt for Miss Julia. And then Zagyamenov, Andrew, you said he knew the crash car was there from the previous lap. He comes over the crest and just drives into the crash car.
He carried so much speed in, and as I say, he'd passed the crash before, the lap before, so he knew where it was. Whether he just got in there a bit hot and there wasn't much he could do about it. But Baumanis has just started to edge the VW Polo now. He's Bowman is actually only 18 years old, which is quite hard to believe. Makes me feel quite old, but very, very impressive. A Latvian, I think he's very good friends with Renis Nitis from the Supercars. Set Promotion,
Nitis,
who runs
of
the...
course, Nitis was in the Clio last year with Set Promotion, won nearly everything going. This is a great drive by Stepankas as well, so he's made the semis 4 times this year, but he's never made it through to the final. Makes it through here, and he's absolutely flying. He's the only man who's holding a candle to Baumanis, although the others have jokered, of course, in the background. Linnemann's currently sitting third. We were talking about Linnemann earlier, just coming into the back of your picture there.
It's quite a big bump, you can see. We didn't see it on the Supercars, but straight from lap 1 on
you can see all of them.
You can see how much it's launched, and they probably don't have the suspension travel, or certainly the suspension technology that the Supercars do, but that's really starting to rut up quite badly. Zaguimenov door is still flying wide open. But you watch this Twingo, it's so well set up. The key of a front-wheel drive car like this is to have it nice and loose on the way in, but then not too much understeer when you correct that oversteer coming out the corner, and it's just a great balance when you watch this car.
Baumanis and Stepankas on your pictures now are the guys who have yet to joke at top of the screen. Orange graphic means they've got to go. They're both waiting for the final lap. Behind them, Linnemann is closing the gap down. There's a stream of 4 cars following them. They're going to need to get that joker lap right. Both of them are going to need to. Baumanis makes a mistake and Stepankas is stuck behind him. If he gets the nerves on in the joker lap on the last corner, they could both drop back. Those other 4 are desperate to get through. Top 3 only, remember. Sorry, no, final, of course. Not even in semi-mode now. Too excited for the Supercars. It's all about the podium positions. Top 3 is equally important. Baumanis over the crest for the final time. He's got to go down into the joker lap now, so watch for him taking the wide line. There he goes, in, keeps it tight on the right, so early on the brakes, Andrew, great job.
He can afford to, as long as he hits his markers through here, there's nowhere to overtake, so he can back Stepankas right up, and he knows that he's going to get the win. Great job.
Brilliant job then, Baumanis takes the win. So who was it? It was Stepankas just ahead of Linnemann, 1/10 of a second, those two coming over the line, one from the joker and one from the standard lap, incredibly close behind them. Linnemann did a great job to catch up those top 2. That's your podium. Baumanis, fantastic victory for him. It's his 3rd win of the year, one in Norway and Belgium earlier on. There's the result. Baumanis from Stepankas, Linnemann, Zaguimenov, Stefan and Smetana. Coming back down towards the bottom of the hill and into the paddock. They'll be getting ready for their podiums. Baumanis hanging out the side of the car, very pleased with the job, and he did a great job, Andrew.
Yeah, Stepankas actually, got the better of the starts, and there was some good hard racing down the back straight, but then Baumanis, once he was out in front, didn't really look back. There's Zaguimenov in his normal wild style, carrying a lot of speed into the joker lap. Final lap, Baumanis managed to back him up all the way through the joker lap for the win.
Linnemann so close, wasn't it? Stepankas seemed to be struggling for traction, and just behind Baumanis coming out the joker, and job done. So that championship, I think, maybe it would have closed up. I'm not sure. Now that Zaguimenov made it through to the final, even though it wasn't a great performance, he was 4th in there. Fans on the top of the EKSRX cars, they're trying desperately to cool down the intercooler at the front of the car, Andrew,
you can see that. So they've got a fan on the intake manifold at the top of the engine there, blowing air lines into the
pouring
intercooler
water over the top
to try and cool it, but also clear any dirt out, because obviously you don't want that blocked up. It needs to be clear. We've seen some cars running a guard on the front, so yeah, it's not getting as much cool air, but it's not getting covered in mud.
KSRX with their final preparations on the go. Neil Cole is down with the winner of the Super 1600 final.
Yannis, congratulations, another win this year. How did it feel to win here in Germany?
It's amazing, thank you very much. And yeah, I'm first time here and already win, and it's amazing. You don't know how it feels. It's the best feel in the world. It's perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, good job there by Baumanis. You can see what it means to him. I didn't realise it was his first time here either, so fantastic job by him. Now, of course, along with the Super 1600s there this weekend were the touring cars. So look at the final. Daniel Lund at the back, the championship leader, has had problems all weekend, Andrew.
Yeah, he has. He had some sort of misfire or some sort of problem on the start grid. Was revving the engine for about a minute to try and keep it running. He's obviously in championship mode, so any points he can get are so valuable at this point of the season.
Now it was Camilla Antonsson that all eyes were on here, leading the final. As the joker laps played out, people were getting near but not quite near enough, and we're starting to talk in the commentary box, and we realised that she's the first ever female winner of a touring car final.
Yeah, she drove fantastically, very composed the whole way through. Really looked like she was at one with the car, and she look, here we go. This is Lona taking the Joker lap on the very last lap, but she was on his tail as he went into it, so it was a clear win for her. Really, really good job.
Absolutely.
Fantastic drive.
Brilliant drive. Equal terms in motorsport, of course, and great to see. Absolutely fantastic. Here are the championship standings. The gap has closed down on Lund. Lona is nearer. That one will go to the final round, just like the Super 1600. Only 14 points in it. So next week in Italy, European Championships to be decided in 3 classes. Neil Cole is down with Timmy Hansen ahead of the Supercar final.
Timmy, we're about to have the Supercar final, and this could be your chance to get that elusive win this season.
Yeah, anything can happen here in Germany. So I'm on a back row, but that doesn't mean anything. You know, it's carnage up in the first corner. So I'll stay tight, I'll make sure to go a good start, and after that, any of these 6 cars can win the race.
But you obviously hope it's going to be you. From being here, it's also quite good for that first corner, because the carnage could happen ahead of you.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters if you're front, middle or back row. It's going to be carnage. It's going to be really difficult to get through. I saw in the semi-final I was in the front row, but anyway I was in the back out of the first corner. So really anything can happen. And I got to stay really focused to stay tight on the inside, make sure I have good traction down the straight, and then we see what happens down to turn 2.
What would it mean to you to get a win here, and what are the conditions like on the circuit now?
It's very dusty. I struggle a lot with dust in the semi-final, but my dad said that the dust will be gone if you stay closer, so I guess I'll just have to catch up and drive fast anyway, even if I can't see.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Advice there from Kenneth Hansen to his son, saying stay close enough, and I guess that just means where the air behind the car is swirling, you won't be in the dust. But
typical dad comment, isn't it?
Yeah,
when
it
you're
is.
complaining about something, to go quicker then.
Timmy Hansen as well, I love, we'll see what happens on the way down to turn 2, and that's after last year, of course, when on the way down to turn 2 he binned his car and wrote it off in the very last final of the season. Here we hope for better luck this time out. The guys are climbing into the cars. It's hot down there. Neil Cole, though, has managed to grab Robin Larson.
Robin, I don't want to hold you up getting into the car, but final words before the final.
It's going to be real tough. It's Peter is fast all weekend and everybody's fast in the final, so I'm looking forward to it.
And what's the secret to getting through turn 1 cleanly?
Luck, only luck.
There's some big clouds coming. Do you think it might stay dry?
Yeah, I hope so.
Good luck, thank you.
Well, if it doesn't stay dry, it's going to be hard work for the mechanics down on the grid, trying to get all the wheel changes done. I think that's Tiedemann there, doing his final prep.
What really surprised me when I was involved at Lyden is how quick a turnaround it is from semi-final to the final. You know, the guys are like a swarm of ants straight on the car, absolutely flat out trying to get it. Even just the standard jobs, the normal routine, getting them ready, it's a rush for that. So any extra work they have to do, and I'm sure some of them are trying to change the setup a little bit where they can. So real busy time for the team.
Topi Heikkinen climbing into the polo, he lifts the lap belts out, climbs over the door bars, parks himself low down in the car. Tiedemann, the same thing. Great to see these preparations for the drivers. The nerves, Andrew, must be building at this point. I know you said you were quite nervous, weren't you, before the final?
Yeah, but again, because you don't have much time between the semi-final and the final, you just have to kind of roll with it and get on with it. Yeah, everyone's going to be a little bit nervous. Probably, the most they'll be thinking about is turn 1 and what if this happens, what if that happens. But we've seen anything can happen, so you might as well put your plans out the window and see what happens when you arrive at turn 1.
Ekstrom clambers into the car, slots himself in. He's wearing the normal Hans device. His teammate Tiedemann is wearing the alternative device, which I think is by Simpson, is it?
Yeah,
which is a sort of shoulder device. That's the Ion Spotters Tower. You can see all of the team managers up there. Each of those little boxes on the Ion Tower is a monitor where they can watch the TV feed. They have a timing screen behind them so they can check the exact gaps. Weather's looking good. I don't think it's going to rain. The flags are blowing nicely, so the dust should get cleared by a decent breeze. It will be hot in the cars, but the action is going to be even hotter. Cannot wait for this. I kind of hope they all get through turn 1 in one piece, but turn 1 is where all the excitement is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I hope it's hard, good racing there, as long as they all give it
fair racing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is what we saw in the semi-finals, really. So I really think Larsson's the one to beat in this one. As I said earlier, he's got nothing to lose at all. Solberg will be thinking about the championship. He has to be thinking about the championship. And I think going into turn one, which is arguably the hardest turn one we have in the calendar, I think he's going to be sign a big sigh of relief when he gets through there, even if he's dropped a position or two, just to get through there with no damage. He knows he can just score and make up good points than everyone else.
Monster Energy girls are on the grid, waiting for this one to get underway, as is a crowd of 10,000 at the Estering. Here's how they line up. It's Larsson and Solberg on the front row, the leaders of the European Rallycross Championship and the World Rallycross Championship. And all EKSRX row 2, Mattias Ekstrom and Pontus Tiedemund. Row 3, Timmy Hansen and Topi Heikkinen. If you can pick a better or a winner than one of those guys, you're a better man than me if you can figure it out. It's got to be about the start, hasn't it? Who gets traction off the start?
The guys on pole have now been sat on the grid for some time while the other guys were getting ready doing their practice start, so their tyres are going to be cooling. The guys behind probably aren't doing it on purpose, but it's just the clutch, the tyres, everything's cooling down on the guys on the front row.
Neil is up in the spotters tower for a quick chat with Kenneth Hansen ahead of the final.
Final advice to Timmy before he got into the car.
Be clever in the first corner, close up behind and the inside, and hope that there will be some big fights on the outside, and he can come out number first.
Now you've competed at this circuit a lot, you know it better than anyone. What should we be looking out for?
First corner definitely, because it will happen a lot there. Normally, I mean, that it's an open sheet. Last guy who come in there can be the first out.
Okay, thank you, good luck.
Kenneth Hansen saying it all, turn one, turn one, turn one. You're probably bored of hearing about it by now, but that is just the case here at Estering. It's a wonderful circuit. It's the second oldest circuit in the European region behind Lydden Hill. It's a proper traditional rallycross track with no runoff, up and down, proper dirt.
Proper old school circuit. I wonder if Kenneth wishes he was driving, or if he's happy that the pressure's on the other guys now. I know he did a lot of testing, really enjoyed that.
100 laps in the 208, but because of his consistency, they wanted someone who could do lap after lap
and experience.
After lap. Yeah,
he's got so much experience.
Timmy was talking to him, wasn't he, about setups ahead of this weekend? What should we do? Right, they're ready to go. The talking stops now. Heikkinen is on the handbrake. The car's in gear. He's ready to go. Can he do anything from the back of the grid? Away on the front of the grid. Dreadful start by Solberg. Larsson is in front. Behind him, the two AKSRX cars. I think Ekstrom starts in. Tiedemund comes around the outside. Tiedemund's trying to go right round Larsson. Solberg and Larsson out of turn one. Larsson is leading then. Solberg is going to be in second place. They'll appear over the crest. On board with Petter, looking back at the two AKSRX cars. It's Larsson from Solberg.
Great start from Larsson again. We said in the last one how consistent and how strong his starts are. Solberg didn't get away too great on the initial launch, but then came back very strong. So then on board with Ekstrom, who looks like he's won the Supercharger
It's
award.
Larsson. Robin Larsson wins the Supercharger award. He was the first man
to Joker lap.
Okay, so Ekstrom decides he wants to get out of traffic. It's a tidy Joker lap from him. Topi Heikkinen's gone with him. Larsson looks like he's gapping Solberg already. Solberg then with Tiedemund behind him. Hansen's well late on the brakes down into turn one. Ekstrom is right up behind them, so Ekstrom's already on the back of this train and he's done his Joker.
Yeah, but Hansen's very quick, so he's not really going to be holding Ekstrom up too much, so he's got his Joker done out the way. Larsson, though, as you say, he's probably just starting to drop Solberg a little bit. A lot of this comes down to who's used their tyres when, and has Larsson saved up his fresher tyres for the final? So, the new tyres make such a difference on these cars, but Solberg will be knowing this is good points for him. He doesn't want to risk anything too much, and maybe if he got a bit closer to Larsson, would he risk a move? Probably not. So this is good championship points. Tiedemund in the Joker lap as well. Where's he going to come out next to Ekstrom? That's where we need to see.
On board up towards the first corner. That's on board with Petter Solberg into the shadows up under the trees in turn one. Chasing Larsson down. Solberg, if he's got his championship head on, I'm with you, Andrew. You don't do anything. He doesn't need the win. Nittish didn't even make the semis. This is going to gap everyone. He could get that magic 30-point gap and tie the championship up maybe around early. There's a long way to go yet, though.
Yeah, there is. And yeah, you want to win races. Of course he does, but he wants to win the championship more. So
Solberg he's gone for it. Solberg's gone for it. It's just as we're saying he wouldn't go for it. Petter Solberg makes a move on Larsson.
Must have run deep into the right-hander over the hill then, because it came into view. Solberg was already at the inside of him.
And Larsson's made a dreadful error. The guys are coming out. Hansen's in front of him. Tiedemund's in front of him. And Ekstrom is behind there. Larsson, how much speed into turn one? Unbelievable. Down the hill, it's a 3-car race out of the dirt. Who's going to come out this one? The lead, Solberg is leading. That must be Tiedemann, surely.
It's Ekstrom. Ekstrom's in
It's
second.
Ekstrom.
Larsson's still on the inside. Hansen's fighting it up. So Hansen got mugged off a little bit there because Larsson just threw it at the inside. Probably very angry if he made a mistake coming over the parade. But now the race is going to be between Ekstrom and Solberg, who's leading.
Unbelievable stuff from Petter Solberg. We're just discussing how surely he's not going to make a move. We didn't see the start of the move. We just saw him on the inside.
We said he wasn't going to make a move, but if there's a gap there, he's got to go for it.
He's got to go for it, and he's done it. And Solberg has now got a monster lead, and we've got an unbelievable fight for second and third place on the podium. Larsson will be gutted. He got second, of course, in the UK. He would love to have gone one better.
It looked like he was going to. We need to try and see a replay to see if he got help or if he just dropped it on his own or if he hit the bumper a little bit wrong. But
we'll see it from
now
Petter's onboard, wouldn't we? Maybe we'll have a look at Petter's onboard later on, find out how he got past. But up and over the crest, Petter Solberg has just 2 laps to go, and he's really starting to dominate this championship. This would be his third win.
He just suddenly slowed then. Ekstrom's close enough to do this. I think Solberg suddenly slowed, whether it was a gear selection problem between the right and the left.
Solberg then has still got to do his Joker lap. There's only two seconds between them.
Well, no, it's about 1.7, which is what we think the Joker lap is. So I'm sure it's definitely like he couldn't get into gear.
Going to come down to the Joker lap exit, so maybe a problem then for Petter Solberg. We're on board now, looking down the hill. Solberg has to Joker on this lap, and so does Hansen further back, but it's all about Solberg and Ekstrom at the front.
Solberg's been so quick through the Joker, and he needs to absolutely hook it up now. This is going to be so close.
In he goes, Solberg into the Joker lap, into the right-hander, into the left-hander. Ekstrom swings around the fast, Solberg's run wide. It's going to be a race to the line. Who's going to take it? 2 close to call. It's Solberg takes it, 100th of a second. Unbelievable. Solberg takes it 100th of a second. Oh, that's the closest of margins we could possibly imagine. It's a 3rd win in a row for Solberg. Canada, France and Germany. The leader of the World Rallycross Championship takes it by the most unbelievable margin. Wow.
Here we go, look, this is it. So you can see Solberg just searching for traction, trying to get it to bite up Ekstrom. Look how close that is.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Wow. If he'd mounted the transponder Ekstrom just a centimetre further forward, he might have got it done. That is incredible. 5 thousandths of a second, we think it is. Oh, incredible. Incredible. I can't believe that margin. We were watching the monitors as they came to the line. Everybody in the commentary box swung to the timing screen because we knew that was the only way to get the result.
The drivers can't have known either. They would have had to rely on the radio call. He obviously got it pretty quick because he was out the car by the first corner, wasn't he?
Yeah, good old Petter. There it is then, 8 points, the 4th win of the year, the 3rd win in the row. Petter Solberg wins round 9 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Ekstrom is second, then it's Larsson, Tiedemann, Heikkinen and Hansen. And Neil Cole is up in the spotters tower right now with Petter Solberg's team.
It was extraordinary up here because we didn't know visually who'd won. It turns out by 5 thousandths of a second, it was Petter. You didn't even realise.
No, it was a bit too close, but for us it's all about the championship, and first or second we still got a lot of points for the championship. But that was a really exciting finish, I think, for the crowd as well.
A great fight back from Mattias, but couldn't quite get the win.
No, not really, but I mean, it's amazing. I mean, P2, you must be happy about it. Of course, if you're just looking at the championship, you could have slowed down a little bit, yeah.
The interesting thing for us is we were surprised that he made the overtake on Larsson because he doesn't have to.
Sorry, I can't hear because of all the show here.
He didn't need to take the risk and overtake Larsson, but he did it.
Yeah, I think he saw an opportunity, and Petter, he knows what's best. We've talked about the risk, and if the window was there, yeah.
Thank you. It was a great fight between you two.
Well, Petter Solberg doesn't want to ruin the roof because he's only just changed it, so he did donuts while we were talking up in the Arn Spotters Tower, hanging out at the side of the door. He's gone to new heights in terms of celebration danger, hasn't he?
I'm sure the team wouldn't have been too happy with him ruining that roof, would they? But
this is it.
So Larsson at the inside, great start again, that was the key to it. Solberg in second, we were thinking he was going to settle for it. It's on board with Ekstrom, a little bit of rubbing, he couldn't get on the power. That's just typical Germany turn one. Here you go. So it looked like Larsson caught the bump a little bit wrong. Heart in the mouth stuff for Solberg there. Big flame out the exhaust, big sideways moment. But then I'm sure this Larsson, opportunistic move, great move there. Hansen's looking at the outside of the Audi.
It was like turn one on the lap one all over again, wasn't it?
Here we go, look. He's trying to just, look, he was scrabbling for grip and he knows how close it's going to be. He's scrabbling for grip, getting the traction across the line.
He was too quick in the Joker, wasn't he, Petter?
That's obviously when he's been told.
On the radio, yeah, he got told. Goodness me. Brilliant final in Germany. It's been brilliant racing all weekend so far. Great celebrations from Petter Solberg. It's his 4th win. The crowd are making their way down to the podium. Petter Solberg, I think, is getting quite familiar with it. Right, we're going to have a look at Petter Solberg's onboard from the final. Let's see if we can see from that maybe how he got past Larson.
So he's got it loaded up with the handbrake. Slams the handbrake, second gear.
Do you see he looked across to the right there as well? He knew he hadn't got a good start.
Yeah, so he's just looking in his mirror, seeing if he was clear to come across. That's Ekstrom looking at the inside, can't quite get it. A little bit of bumping and boring, but great, good, hard racing. Flat in 6th gear, car moving around all the time, little corrections.
The 2 AKS cars as well, racing down the hill. Who wants to race first? Yeah, team boss. I think I'd break second if I was Tiedemann. You don't know, do you?
Of course you don't know. He'd have been going for it, but so then this is it. So. No, this isn't it. So I thought this was going to do in Larson. So we'd actually said that Larson seemed to be just starting to gap Solberg a little bit, whether Solberg was just settling for second, but Larson looked like he had really good pace. I'm really interested to see. Look there, you know, he's stretching a good few car lengths. He had great pace.
When we spoke to Emil a minute ago, the team manager from EKSRX, you know, even they were thinking, oh, maybe Petter will settle for second and Mattias will win, but everybody thought that. He's had his championship head on and he's seen an opportunity and bang, he's grabbed it. And we were saying earlier about the luck of a world champion, you know, the luck of someone who's leading the championship, the luck goes with you or doesn't, and he's had a bit today.
So
Turn 1 in the semis. This is it now.
Let's have a look at Larson, the car in front. Does he just... No, it's not that big. This is it coming towards us, I think. He looks like he's offline there.
I don't think he's got it turned in, has he? Over the
and you
crest.
Can see how rutted up it is quite a lot now, and he tries to close it down. Quite a big hit with Solberg, but again, look how lucky that is. Just skims the rear bumper along the Armco rather than hitting his rear wheel. So great, good, hard racing. Larson obviously didn't look that disappointed because he was doing some cracking donuts outside.
He was, yeah. He was. I would have loved to have seen him win. It would have been great. I mean, an Audi win at home would have been great for them, but Petter Solberg is running away with this one now.
He's looking very hard to beat, you know, on a weekend or a day like today when it looked like it was going to go against him because he had a non-finish or certainly a very bad heat with broken suspension, and he still comes through to win. Impressive.
There's Tiedemann.
They've been very quick all weekend. He's probably thinking, wow, that was a good race to watch in front. So
yeah.
I'm sure the EKS guys will be very happy with that. Obviously, a bit of them will be, you know, it's 5,000. That's so close to winning, but you know, they're right up at the sharp end and being involved in a cracking race.
Solberg, Ekstrom, Larson is the way it finished. Ekstrom really pleased, wasn't he? Of course, he won in Sweden. He's come back. He's up on the podium. There's Henning with his brother Petter. Podium celebrations will start soon, I'm sure. Neil Cole is down with Petter Solberg, who has a 52-point championship lead.
Petter, what a dramatic way to win by 5,000th of a second. Talk us through that race.
It was crazy, to be honest with you. You know, it's I don't know what to say because Larsson drove very well. You know, he had a very good start, and I was behind him, and to beat him would have been maybe difficult, fair and square, because then you have to be a little bit dirty. So, but when I started to have problems, when I halfway through the race, the response was on full throttle, so I almost went off the bottom of the corner. But he also went wide there, but I almost went straight, so I turned off the response, went without response, and then he did a mistake there. I was on inside, and then on the last lap, because there was so much going on, I went up in the top, down the gravel, and I didn't know if it was one more lap to go or I have to take the joker. So I stopped up. I stopped a little bit down the hill there to look over to the number, and it said 1, and then I was flat out again. So I was crazy, and what can I say? You know, it was very, very good. You know.
That's 4. Well done, Petter. Your podium awaits.
Yeah. Yeah. Champagne.
Thank you.
Even Petter Solberg can't really believe it himself, can he? He's just absolutely blown away by it. Here are the championship standings, and my goodness me, that is an absolutely massive lead. He came in with a 28-point lead, and it looks like he's going away with a 52-point lead. It's massive. Solberg then miles ahead after round 9 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Toppy Heikkinen moves up to second. Reinis Nitish is third. Hansen fourth. That's a big move up the table for him. Bakrud fifth. Timosyanov, Markland and Tiedemann. And there are the team standings. So very, very close still. They were absolutely locked together after France. Olsberg's now then is leading just by 10 points from VW Markland Motorsport.
Okay, place number 3, 4.
Podium time for the top 3. Robin Larson, what might have been Andrew Jordan.
Yeah, we don't actually know completely what happened. We haven't been able to see, but it was some sort of mistake as they came over the gravel corner. But he still seems very happy with the podium.
I think he'd be very happier if he was one step further, yeah. 2 steps further up, wouldn't he? But never mind.
It's interesting to hear from Solberg how much is going on. From the response, I presume he's meaning the anti-lag or something.
Yes,
You mess around with the settings.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so much going on such a busy lap, but he's still thinking about all these different things.
So a problem with his car, which Andrew Jordan spotted very quickly indeed. So much going on in that race. A brilliant 4th win for Petter Solberg, 3 in a row. Did the triple last time, we're getting 3 wins. He's done a triple now with 3 in a row. He's going to have an absolute shocker for someone to beat him. He's got at least 1 hand on the trophy, 2 hands on the champagne. Brilliant win for Solberg. I just don't think it's sunk in, even for him. Supercharger award from Monster Energy. That will be going to Larson, who made it up to turn 1 first of all. In fact, the Supercharger award was at the right kink just before the right hairpin. And that's the face you pull when someone pours expensive champagne down your back. There is the Monster Energy Supercharger award coming out now with 2 of our Monster Energy girls. Handed over to Larson. Great job. He's pleased. He does look just a little bit disappointed though, Andrew, doesn't he? I really think he could have done it.
Even Petter said he was driving very well and had good pace, and Petter said himself he wasn't going to risk much to try and pass him. So, yeah, probably a bit of a missed opportunity, but you live and learn. He's been very quick all weekend.
He's young as well, isn't he?
Very young, yeah.
Here's the championship standings in the European Rallycross Championship with just 1 round to go in Italy. Robin Larson is leading by 10 points. 3-point gap then back to from Henning Solberg to Tiedemann to Hedström, Glossagenier, Neumann, Christopherson, Rustad. So the last round is next weekend in Italy. That's the rest of the drivers. Faust down in 16th, Mattias Ekstrom, Ken Block. So some superstar drivers who've joined us this year for the European Championship, and it finishes in Italy next weekend. Crowd heading down towards that podium. They'll be looking to see the support last podiums shortly. 10,000 people, as I say, and they've enjoyed some just incredible action. Andrew Jordan, you had a good weekend?
I think the racing's been fantastic, certainly in the semi-finals and the final. Turn 1, we were all a bit worried of how many casualties it was going to have, but it's been good, hard, fair racing, and that's what we love to see.
Neil Cole has managed to grab hold of Mattias Ekstrom.
5,000th of a second in it. Did you know whether you'd won or not?
No, I asked the team several times. I could see I was catching lap by lap by lap, and I was just flat out. I had no mistake really. The only problem was the starts in the semi and the finals. That wasn't perfect, but the car had been awesome. The atmosphere here is just fantastic, and to be second with 5,000 behind is better. I mean, it really, but it's. Second place is the first loser, but if you want to lose to anyone, and with a time margin, I can live with 500s or 5,000s.
Were you surprised, though, how hard Petter was pushing, considering he's got the championship to worry about?
We all drive flat out, mate. If you don't drive flat out, you look really stupid. And I know Petter, sometimes he's trying to take the mickey out to me and saying, oh, I'm this problem, but I know he's always flat out. He just look on his philosophy, 110%. So we are all giving it our best. We were close. But come back for revenge, mate.
Thank you.
Ekstrom keen for revenge then. Been an absolutely brilliant weekend here in Germany. Away from the line, we had carnage up in turn 1 a lot of the time, but thankfully in the semi-finals the supercar drivers managed to keep it clean. That was Christopherson when he had a half spin at the bottom of the hill. Larson and Ekstrom These were the Super 1600s. They had the most carnage in their semi-finals. Absolutely incredible. That man, Zaki Menov, on the left of your picture, lucky to make it through to the final after ripping a wheel off in the semis. Championship to be decided next week in Italy. Petter Solberg, Robin Larsson. This was up towards turn 1 in the final. Looking back from Petter at the two AKS RX cars racing down the hill, and this was the moment that Petter Solberg took the lead in round 9 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship, and there was where he took his 4th win of the season by 0.005 of a second. Unbelievable stuff. It's a massive lead for Petter Solberg in the World Rallycross Championship. Can anyone stop him? Join us next weekend in Italy, and you'll be able to find out. We'll see you soon.